Chapter 864, Flame Dragon's Transformation Skill. Open. Chapter 864, Flame Dragon's Transformation Skill. Open. You're finally here. Transu Emperor's voice was excited, his eyes twinkling with excitement, as though he had been waiting for tens of thousands of years. At the same time, the aura on his body suddenly became quiet. Long Fei smiled lightly and said, "Have you washed your butt clean?" Sea Dragon King sent a sound transmission to him. "Boss, what he is wearing should be the Emperor armor. 6 million years ago, it was a immortal stage divine equipment. Let me do it. Let me test his strength." Sea Dragon King said. He was very clear in his heart that the cultivation level of the Transu was extremely strong. Long Fei was not a match for him at all. It was not that he did not trust Long Fei, but the facts were right in front of him. It was impossible for Long Fei's strength to defeat Transu Emperor. Not just him. Black Dragon, Azure Dragon, and Golden Dragon, they all knew clearly in their hearts that Long Fei was not their match. The Transu Emperor that was donned with the Emperor armor became even more ferocious. Long Fei shook his head and said, "No need." Sea Dragon King was stunned and said, "Boss, his power is too terrifying. His defense alone is not enough, so we need powerful attacks to defeat him." The Azure Dragon Ancestor replied, "His armor is the Emperor armor, and the long sword in his hand is the Transu's holy sword. His attack power is too great. Not only the armor, the sacred sword. Every single thing on the Transu's body was a holy artifact, and every single thing contained a strong power. Not to mention Long Fei. Even they wouldn't be able to move against him. They did not know how Long Fei was going to deal with the Transu Emperor. But looking at the current situation, Long Fei was not his match. Transu did not make his move in a hurry. Instead, he looked at Long Fei and said, "This is the great temple of my Transu, and the rankings of our ancestors are all inside. The arrival of your dragon clan destroyed my Transu empire. I have been pitted by the heavens and was able to absorb the power of that calamity, but I was too weak back then, and I was trapped by the seal before I could even react. However, 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west, more than 6 million years in the seal allowed me to become incomparably strong, allowing me to cultivate the mutated energy in the midst of my calamity to the peak realm. Kid, whether you are the reincarnation of a Yuan Long or not, I will use your head to pay tribute to the people who died during that calamity." Transu's battle intent began to ignite. Long Fei looked at Transu and asked, "Are you done talking? Are you done? Since we're done, let's start the fight. I've been unable to bear it for a long time." Long Fei shouted excitedly towards the Sea Dragon King and the others, "All of you retreat." Sea Dragon King's eyes darkened and said, "Boss, you." Long Fei did not want to explain and said, "This is an order. Retreat." The dragons drew back a little. Long Fei looked at the Azure Dragon Ancestor and said, "If I die, I would ask you to help me bring Song Qianqian and Ling Long out. You should know where they are now. If I lose, I'm really sorry that I won't be able to help the dragon race. It's up to you guys to decide what to do with the tribulation." Long Fei was not confident either. However, he had to do it. Being beaten up by the Golden Dragon Master and the Green Dragon was tantamount to his brother being bullied. As his boss, if he couldn't help his brother get back at him, he would be treated like a fart. As soon as he finished, Long Fei suddenly shouted out, "Now all of you retreat." Sea Dragon King retreated, and all the other dragons followed. At the same time, they secretly made up their minds. No matter what, even if they had to trade their lives, they couldn't let Long Fei die. Long Fei used the free cloud art and stood in midair, staring at the king of Transu and laughed. "Let's begin." Transu's eyes darkened. He took a step forward, and his powerful strength surged like 100,000 prehistoric beasts towards Long Fei's mind. Yin Huang Ancestor's mind was in shock as he hurriedly said, "Kid, be careful." In an instant, the power of the Yin Huang Ancestor instantly transformed into a defensive power, protecting Long Fei's mind and his sea of consciousness. Long Fei's heart was incomparably calm. There wasn't the slightest ripple. Looking at the transu that was charging towards him, he madly calculated in his mind. No. No way. If we can't kill him, we can't. He's too strong. I can't find any weak points. No. His defense is simply too strong. We can't find any weak points at all. His brain was like a computer, crazily calculating the transu's attacks, defenses, and everything else. If Long Fei's strength was compared to his, the chances of winning were 0. No chance at all. Even if he included the cultivation technique he was cultivating in, it still wouldn't do. The chances of him winning were still 0. Huff. Long Fei exhaled a long breath. Since that's the case, then there's no other way. We can only rely on the enlargement stroke. Long Fei wanted to try and see if he could defeat Transu Emperor with his own strength. After thinking it through, not only could he not win, he would even be defeated by him in one move. If that's the case, Long Fei had no other choice but to use the enlargement stroke. See, Dragon King was burning with anxiety. Why hasn't Boss made a move yet? Why is there no energy fluctuation on his body? Just what is he thinking? The Azure Dragon Ancestor was also unable to see through Long Fei, and he didn't know what Long Fei wanted to do either. Seeing him standing there without moving, his heart became extremely nervous. Golden Dragon Master said, I can't watch it any longer. No, I have to rush up. The General Assembly died. He really will die. All the 14 Dragon Ancestors were worried. Looking at Long Fei, who was not moving at all, they were extremely worried. Every heart was in his throat. Every heart was ready to go, ready for everything. And at this moment, each second was longer than it had been for 10,000 years. Blood Dragon Ancestor could not withstand the pressure and shouted, I'm going to throw caution to the wind. Boss, I'm coming. Next, Poison Dragon Elder was the same. I can't care that much anymore. See, Dragon King threw caution to the wind and shouted, Everyone attack together. No matter what, you have to protect our boss, even if it means your own life. Immediately, 14th Dragon Ancestor went crazy. Seeing Long Fei not moving, the pressure in their hearts was too strong, and they could not take it. Transu looked at Long Fei, who was motionless and laughing coldly. Kid, tremble. Pay the price for your crimes back then. His eyes were full of contempt. With the cultivation level of the virtual immortal stage, he could kill them with a finger. Even if it was with the 14th Dragon Ancestor added in, he would not be a match for them. A chief sovereign, just as 14th Dragon Ancestor rushed out. The moment Transu's attack was about to land, Long Fei's eyes were filled with anger. The idea moved. Xianbao's Spirit Stones release. Boom! 1 million power of celestial values were temporarily added into Long Fei's power of celestial value. At the same time, Long Fei roared furiously. Turn Yin Long into God. Open. This was 2F** King Cool. This was 2F** King Cool. His voice was like thunder as it raged out. Within Long Fei's body, 1 million power of celestial points were instantly used up. The turn Yin Long into God was released. His body suddenly changed. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The power of the 9 heavens above came crashing down one after another. Long Fei's body abruptly changed as the powerful energy of the flame dragon directly bounced away the 14th Dragon Ancestor. Transu's holy sword came crashing down on the flame dragon's head. It didn't move at all. Long Fei stared deadly at Transu. His incomparably powerful dragon's aura surged to its peak as Long Fei's voice came out from the flame dragon's cold mouth. You made your move, and now it's my turn, right? Before he could finish his words, the flame dragon suddenly opened its bloody mouth, and without giving Transu any chance to react, swallowed him whole. Crack! Crack! They began to chew crazily, and each bite was like a crushing machine, crushing Transu's body, continuously exploding forth with incomparably terrifying critical damage. 1323822 inch, 203, 4232, 973, 2232, one after another, the damage figures floated up. What Emperor armor? What holy sword? What tribulation force of variation? Is it considered a joke? Long Fei was extremely irritable. When it came to looking down on him, Transu did not have the slightest bit of temper. Invincible defense? Bullshit. Attack explode? Bullshit. To chop off Long Fei's head and hang it above the temple? Bullshit. He ate it in one bite. Do you have a temper? 14 Dragon Ancestor were completely dumbstruck when they were forced back by the aura of the Flame Dragon. Flame, and Flame Dragon. Peak Realm's Flame Dragon. Boss transformed into the Flame Dragon. Or could it be that Flame Dragon is in Boss Body as well? No, that can't be. We are also in Boss Body. Why didn't we transform into our Peak Realm? How could it be Flame Dragon? Seeing the Flame Dragon eat the Transu Emperor in one bite, they were completely dumbstruck. Moreover, their cultivation did not even recover 10%, but the Flame Dragon that Long Fei had transformed into was actually a Peak Realm. See, Dragon King was dumbstruck. My darling, now I finally understand why you guys followed him. I finally understand why he doesn't recognize himself as a Yuan Long. This is much stronger than the Yuan Long. The Zhonya gold body in the formation was invincible. While the octopus was being bombarded by the sea, when he was ravaging the Variation Panther King, Long Fei had released a power that was stronger than his previous one, and now he was actually able to transform into the Flame Dragon Patriarch of the Peak Realm. What kind of power was this? Too overbearing. See, Dragon King laughed madly. Transu, aren't you awesome? Wasn't he arrogant? Another arrogant one, huh? The Blood Dragon laughed wildly. What's wrong with Transu Empire? What's wrong with fusing the powers of the Cataclysm? If the Yuan Long had not intentionally let you off and brought you all back to the seal, would you have been able to live to this day? You old fart, continue being cocky. I can't kill you. They let out a long breath, feeling incomparably excited. Right now, let alone the arrogant Transu, he couldn't even say a single word. The amount of blood on his head was quickly decreasing, and in just a few seconds, he was dead. Long Fei said smugly, "You want to crush my brother? Move my woman? You want to force my enlargement stroke? Your father's anger has been aroused by you. Now, give it to me. Go berserk, berserk, berserk." Long Fei said each word. The Flame Dragon Ancestor's strength suddenly sank, and he swallowed the Transu Emperor into his stomach. Boom! The flame on the Flame Dragon's body suddenly retracted and immediately entered its body, exterminating the last bit of blood on Transu Emperor's head. At this moment, the system exploded and the system sounded out a notification sound. Long Fei could not wait any longer and shouted, "Release your striking energy value." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Transu Emperor for obtaining 10 million experience, 0 power of celestial points, 10 energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Holy Spirit blood. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Transu Emperor blood lineage. Do you wish to fuse them? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining level 9 variant crystal nucleus. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining variant Emperor helmet. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining variant King armor. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Transu's variant King's sacred sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining variant King Armguard. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining variant Emperor boots. Crack, 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 crack. Long Fei looked at the Space Ring-S items one after another and couldn't help but curse. This is 2F asterisk King cool, haha. 18 sets of the Overlord set, and all of them are mutated sets. Isn't this letting Lousy go against the will of the heavens? So cool. From the time he had teleported to now, from the time he arrived in the Southern Domain, it had been the most thrilling experience Long Fei had ever experienced in his entire life. After exploding Transu Emperor, the system sounded out yet again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward for defeating Transu Emperor. The reward is Revenge Blade. A slender, long sword floated in Long Fei's mind. There was nothing special about the sword. However, when Long Fei saw its attribute, he was instantly given a fright. Fuck, it's another immortal stage divine equipment. But, system, aren't you being too stupid? I can't even use the reward. What do you mean female use only? Revenge Blades were specifically used by females. If Long Fei uses words, he wouldn't be able to unleash its power. Immediately, when Long Fei thought of the Sword Force King Kong's Aoya, he let out a breath in his heart and said, this time around, the affability level of 999 points should be close to 0, right? Seeing this long and thin revenge blade that was like a LOL sword technique, Long Fei was happy. This is tailor-made for you. I don't believe I can't beat you. It was also at this time. Long Fei felt Yin Huang Ancestor make a move and immediately shouted out, Ancestor, can you let me act a few times before devouring it? 100 variant crystal nucleu. You go fill up your stomach first. That should be enough, right? Yin Huang Ancestor grinned. 200. Deal. Long Fei immediately asked. The King's variant set and the super artifact set, if he could wear them during the Academy tournament, wouldn't that make all the girls in the Academy go crazy for him? Long Fei looked at the drop of blood essence within the space ring. Holy Spirit blood, what is this? Chapter 866, Super Big Riche. Chapter 866. Super Big Riche. Long Fei could understand blood lineage S and Emperor armor. What needed to be fused should be fused together as well. But when he randomly glanced at the Holy Spirit blood, without even thinking, the idea moved. However, the system beeped out a prompt. Ding! The attributes do not match. It is impossible to fuse them. Long Fei was shocked. What do you mean by attributes do not match and cannot fuse? What the hell? Long Fei fused again, but the result was the same. The attributes did not match, and the fusion was impossible. Then, Long Fei opened up the system to check the attributes of the Holy Spirit blood. Item: Holy Spirit blood strength, 10 stars speed, 10 stars grade. Description: the fusing must be non-human, non-demon, non-ghost, non-demon. Description 2. The user can gain the power of the Holy Spirit and increase his or her power by 100%. Description 3. The host must be the son of the Holy Spirit. After reading the description given by the system, Long Fei instantly became excited. Haha, Heaven Spirit, Sky Spirit. Isn't this something specially prepared for Heaven Spirit? He's the only one who isn't human, ghost, demon, or demon. Son of the Holy Spirit. What the F **K. Awesome. Long Fei looked at the Holy Spirit blood with incomparable excitement and muttered in his heart, Li Yuanba's giant spirit corpse. Son of the Holy Spirit of the Holy Spirit. They have special powers. The other King Kong must have special powers as well. Wakaka, are my 8 Great King Kong too cool? I like it. Long Fei thought that the giant spirit corpse's appearance was a coincidence. However, the first time was a coincidence, but the second time was definitely not a coincidence. Transu was such an awesome person. He was simply unable to refine this drop of Holy Spirit blood. From the beginning to the end, the energy that he exploded forth with was the mutated power of the calamity, and it did not contain the strength of Holy Spirit blood at all. In other words, he was not the son of the Holy Spirit and could not be fused. In this world, if there were any inhuman, non-demonic, non-demon, it would definitely be a heavenly spirit. Long Fei's 8 great Vajra body all had powerful inherent skills, and Long Fei had to look for these inherent skills. Haha. Holy Spirit, just wait for the heavens. Ha ha ha. As long as you fuse with the Holy Spirit blood, your big grudge will be easy. Long Fei did not forget the deep hatred that the Heavenly Spirit Realm had towards him, nor did he forget the request that the Heavenly Spirit Realm's mother had given him. Brother's business was his business. The Holy Spirit blood, I left it for you. As Long Fei was looking through all of this, the lost continent shattered piece by piece, and the sky also crumbled. The entire continent was supported by the powers of the Transu Emperor. After he died, the energy source disappeared, and the lost continent that had been silent for millions of years began to crumble as it could not withstand the pressure of the deep sea. Boss, the situation isn't right. This place might collapse. The blood dragon looked at ancestor Yanlong, whose physique was several times larger than theirs. If it hadn't been for the fact that they had personally seen him, they would have definitely thought that he was a flame dragon. Sea Dragon King replied, "We have to quickly leave this place." At the same time, a golden dragon master came back from the beach, carrying an unconscious Song Qianqian and Ling Long on his back, and said, "Boss, let's go." Long Fei regained his composure. Seeing the sky crack and the earth fall, the scene looked as though it was the end of the world as he secretly became anxious in his heart. Helpless, she shouted, "Let's go." He really didn't want to leave. Transu Empire's treasures had yet to be collected. He needed money. He needed immortal crystals to cultivate. Sigh, my life is probably going to be filled with poverty. I've missed another opportunity to make a fortune. Long Fei complained in his heart. Looking at the Transu Empire, which was quickly collapsing, his heart ached. Yin Huang ancestor listened to his complaints and said, "If someone else were to hear your words, I'm afraid they would really want to give you a slap." "What do you mean by poor? You made a whole 1,300 variant crystal nuclei. Forget about those high-grade crystals. Just the energy of the first-grade crystal core is 3 times more than the immortal crystals. I estimate that other than the big tycoons with the fairy stones as essence mines, there's probably no one else in God's Marshall continent who is richer than you. You're a tycoon now. Super tycoon, if you add on 18 mutated monarch sets. Using your usual phrase, who the hell else would it be?" Yin Huang said in disdain. He really wanted to kick Long Fei a few times. How infuriating. This trip to Transu could be said to be his greatest gain. Just these mutated immortal crystals were much more valuable than the treasures found in the Transu Empire. However, the Yin Huang ancestor also enjoyed the meal. Right now, he ate the crystal core like a peanut, one on the left, one on the right. His life was even more comfortable than that of Tycoon, who was afraid of too much money. Moreover, these variant crystal nuclei were useful to Long Fei. Its energy could cause a person's cultivation to increase explosively in an instant and without any side effects. In this year's Academy competition, Dao Feng and the others would definitely need this type of crystal core. And then there was that. If this kind of variant crystal nuclei shone brilliantly in the Academy competition, Long Fei could seize the opportunity to have the Fengyuan Merchant Union hold a separate auction. This would allow the Fengyuan Merchant Union to raise their reputation and increase their influence in the God Emperor city. These 1,000 more variant crystal nuclei were simply not enough. Not to mention the fact that there was still a large group of hungry shadow soldiers within the Death Calling God seal. Long Fei really wanted to give him one. 8 billion crystal cores. When Long Fei heard the words of the Yin Huang ancestor, he replied, "Ancestor, there's food at home, so there's no need to panic. What happened to me? I have more than 1,000 ghost soldiers to eat and a ghost eater to eat. Do you think I can stop suffering? Can I stop suffering? If you have the guts, don't eat it." Yin Huang ancestor's eyes froze for a moment, then laughed out loud. "Brat, you are better than everyone else. It's just an old saying. There is no mistake. You could just suffer a little more. As for the happiness, leave it to us." Long Fei was speechless. Now it was he who wanted to give the ancestor a few ruthless kicks. However, he also knew that the old ancestor's power was growing stronger, and he needed more energy to cultivate. Even though the old ancestor had been eating, he had been cultivating as well. In the Hellcore, most of the resources the ancestor ate were allocated to these ghost soldiers for cultivation. Otherwise, it would be impossible for these ghost soldiers to break through so quickly. Just as Long Fei and the Yin Huang ancestor was talking, the skies suddenly darkened as a strong power engulfed everything. Sea Dragon King shouted loudly, "Everyone be careful." The Azure Dragon ancestor quickly replied, "Boss, the power of the divine retribution's backlash. This Transu Empire is a special space which is supported by the divine tribulation's force of variation. Now that the power has collapsed, the power of the divine retribution's backlash followed. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid all of us will die here. Unless. Chapter 867. I want to blast its chrysanthemum. Chapter 867. I want to blast its chrysanthemum. This was a special space where the supporting power disappeared. Its anaphasic force was activated. Even the Transu Emperor didn't know about this move. So if he were to kill Long Fei, he wouldn't be able to leave this place either, and would similarly be devoured by the backlash. Sea Dragon King anxiously said, Azure Dragon, at what time is it? Stop nagging. The Blood Dragon added, That's right. Big brother Azure Dragon, hurry up. We won't be able to take it any longer. The descent of the sky became more and more intense, the crushing power becoming stronger and stronger. This kind of power was even more powerful than the power that erupted from Transu's body, because space itself was shrinking. The Green Dragon ancestor said, The Yuan Long once said, the Transu Empire is a special space. After killing the Transu Emperor, there is still a powerful backlash coming from the Transu Emperor. I didn't think that this would be the anaphasic force that he was talking about. Can you stop talking nonsense? I can't take it anymore. Golden Dragon Master urged and said, Tell boss what to do. Long Fei's expression tightened and said straightforwardly, Just tell me what you want me to do. Green Dragon Ancestor said, Break through the sky. It's the only way. As soon as Green Dragon Ancestor finished his sentence, Sea Dragon King turned his body and rushed forward. The powerful Sea Dragon King power burst forth, forming a conical force. Rumble! The sky exploded and his power was instantly devoured. It was completely useless. Sea Dragon King was the strongest amongst the dragon ancestors, but in the face of the backlash from the calamity, he was like an ant, not even able to withstand a single blow. Holy sh**t, it's not moving at all. How can it be broken through? Big brother Azure Dragon, are you joking? The Blood Dragon said as it watched Sea Dragon King being pushed back. Their scalps tingled. Was he going to die here before the calamity even arrived? Long Fei looked at the system, turned Yin Long into God for a little longer. The idea in his heart moved, searched for a bit, then stepped forward and said, Let me. Long Fei's flame dragon shook slightly. He rushed up and stared at the descending tribulation anaphasic force, and thought to himself, Yuan Long, you predicted everything, right? 6 million years ago? When you were in the Dragon Head Chinkoan map, you knew that I would devour you. I won't be possessed by you, right? It should be the same in Transu Empire, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have bet everything on me. What Long Fei had just heard from the Green Dragon Ancestor had made him think about many things. It was as if nothing could escape the Yuan Long's prophecy. Dragon Body Tomb. The Sea Dragon King was unconvinced of him, and everything was within his expectations. It was as if everything had been arranged. Long Fei was unable to resist this kind of power, but he understood clearly in his heart, whether it is the Yuan Long or the Great Prophecy, in short, my life is not up to me, let alone your Yuan Long. Even the heavens would not be able to control my Long Fei's fate. Long Fei roared, and all the power in his body burst forth. Flame Dragon Break. Roar! With a loud bang, a powerful fireball was released from the Flame Dragon's body. It was pushed out in a wave and smashed into the sky, causing the sky to sink and caving in. Long Fei roared again. Flame Dragon Break. Boom! Another huge fireball charged forward. Fire Dragon Break. The third. Fire Dragon Break. The fourth. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, 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 boom. Super fireballs exploded in a single spot, and the sky caved in. But the anaphasic force did not break. Long Fei shouted to the patriarchs behind him, Follow closely, I want to break through it. Sea Dragon King was startled and immediately followed. The dragons followed. Long Fei moved a little, and the incomparably gigantic flame dragon immediately charged forward, smashing into the ball of flames ruthlessly. It raised its head and roared hysterically, Break for me! Slash! The sky split open and a force broke through the void. Long Fei's two giant dragon eyes opened wide, and an even more powerful force burst out. "Break for me!" Rumble, breaking through the curtain of the sky with his entire body. It was as if he had broken through the first heaven. The scene was incomparably shocking. All the dragons followed behind Long Fei, looking at his back. All of the dragon patriarchs felt their hearts clench. Boss! He was incomparably impressed. They thought that they were incomparably powerful, that no one would be able to stop them other than through the storm, which was why they were so arrogant. However, the Transu Emperor gave them a fierce slap. Let them know how weak and how lowly they are. If not for their boss, none of them would have been able to leave this place alive. At this moment, their hearts were stronger than ever. They had always been waiting for Long Fei to go to the open dragon domain, then recover their strength and sit back and enjoy the success. They were wrong. They realized that they had made a mistake, and even realized that they were facing a catastrophe in the same way. They were blaming themselves in their hearts. He had to become stronger. He had to become stronger. He absolutely couldn't let today's matter repeat itself. They definitely could not lower their heads to a tribulation. Lowering your head to divinity. Absolutely not. Long Fei had made them different, made them more determined, because Long Fei was truly very strong. This kind of feeling of admiration towards someone was something that Yuan Long couldn't give. Long Fei rushed out from the backlash of the calamity. Sea Dragon King followed closely behind him, and the other dragon ancestors all rushed out one after another. Walala! Deep in the sea, Long Fei and the 14th dragon ancestor rushed out together. The instant they rushed out, the Transu Empire behind them, which had been quiet for more than 6 million years, shrunk unceasingly. In the end, like a grain of sand, it released a bright light and disappeared forever. Long Fei's heart sank. Damn, it's too dangerous. Is this the power of the storm? In the past, they had only heard about the dragonkind's calamity from the mouth of the green dragon. But what exactly was it? Just how powerful was the power of tribulation? He did not know, but now he knew. If the power of this catastrophe was so terrifying, then what would a true catastrophe look like? Compared to 3,330,000 years ago, 5 years from now, the apocalypse would be far more powerful and ferocious. Long Fei's mind tensed up. Seems like I really have to speed up. 5 years. I only have 5 years. Long Fei secretly clenched his fists. It was also at this time. His eyes froze as a powerful aura slowly approached them. Long Fei immediately saw that familiar voice. Giant beast under deep sea. That giant demon that sent them into the Transu was also the Nether King's sea demon. F***CK. I've said it before, one day you will fall into my hands. Long Fei grinned excitedly. Dragon Ancestor, listen up, surround it. I'm going to burst its chrysanthemum. Chapter 868. My guy only uses it to swat girls. Chapter 868. My guy only uses it to swat girls, swear it. He had to get back at them. Looking at the giant beast under deep sea once again, Long Fei's old flame burst out, pointing at the gigantic giant beast under deep sea, but was still tiny in front of the dragon patriarch. He roared out, "Hold him, I'm going to destroy it." Boom, boom. At this moment, the true whirlpool of giant beast under deep sea was bombarding something. It was as though a few of the powerhouse S were smashed to pieces by his bombardment, and he had an arrogant and tyrannical expression on his face. Suddenly, it felt like it was being stared at by dozens of pairs of eyes. He raised his eyes slightly, and his body suddenly shrunk. His body instantly began to tremble, and he started to feel afraid. Sea Dragon King roared out, "Our boss wants to see you. Are you coming over yourself? Or do you want us to take action?" The 14th dragon ancestor surrounded him in the middle, deadly. He simply did not have any chance to escape, and he did not dare to flee either. He had never been this afraid before. This scene, too overbearing. Just like a bunch of bosses staring at a little scoundrel. If you dare to act smug again, I'll immediately kill you. The giant beast under deep sea had no choice at all. The giant beast under deep sea trembled and slowly walked towards that flame dragon. Ding! The time for the flame dragon to transform into a shrine is over. With the fall of the system beep, Long Fei instantly transformed back into his real face-like body. The giant beast under deep sea recognized Long Fei with a single glance. She was startled for a moment. Then her eyes flashed with astonishment. At the same time, she was a little angry. In his entire life, the thing he was least afraid of was humans. In this sea in hell, he was invincible and was the god that ruled. He wasn't afraid of any humans at all. When the giant beast under deep sea saw Long Fei, its heart changed and its expression became somewhat cruel. However, without waiting for his reaction, Sea Dragon King's huge tail waved and formed a palm. A palm struck down. Palm! Instantly, he slapped the giant beast under deep sea to the ground. Sea Dragon King rebuked angrily. "You dare to be disrespectful to my lord. Are you seeking death?" Without waiting for him to stand up, the Blood Dragon King's huge tail slapped down once again. "Pa!" Blood Dragon Ancestor shouted. "Are you tired of living?" "Pa!" Patriarch Ghost Dragon was also stunned. "Do you know who he is? Our boss dares to even touch our boss? Have you ever thought about the consequences?" "Pa!" Black Dragon Ancestor was also the fiercest one. "You punk, get cocky again." The giant beast under deep sea did not even have the chance to retaliate and was directly beaten to death by the 14th Dragon Ancestor. Furthermore, they did not even have the slightest bit of temper to fight back, which was simply too unbearable. He never got up from the ground. He had never suffered so much in his life. When Sea Dragon King and the others made their move, huge waves rolled on the surface of the sea in Hell Sea. With a move of their dragon tail, a huge wave that was 30,000 meters long swept over. The entire sea in Hell seemed to be roaring. A few Magic Tribe's face were pale. They were shaken by the flames released by the sea in Hell, causing their sea of consciousness to churn, unable to withstand the impact force. "No way. No, we can't take it. He's even stronger than that fellow in Deathgate. What kind of monsters are in this sea in Hell? Lord Sea Demon, if this goes on, we won't be able to take it." Messenger of Magic Master was unable to resist the shock wave released by the sea in Hell. The sea demon that was floating in the air emitted a thick, demonic flame from his body. His eyebrows were tightly locked as he stared at the depths of sea in Hell. This power, what kind of monster is it? They could not pass through the Death Gate and could not enter it at all. However, just the eruption of such a powerful force was enough to prove that the fellow in the sea was not simple. Even he, the Sea Devil, found it difficult to resist. Messenger of Magic Master wanted to enter the sea in Hell to find Long Fei. Completing the mission given to him by the Master of Magic Tribe, he brought Long Fei to the Demon City. But now, they couldn't even enter the Death Gate, and just now, they made a huge rumbling sound deep within the sea in Hell. That aura of power was something they had never felt before. And now, it was a massive wave that was 30,000 meters long. Its strength and aura were extremely terrifying, and it simply wasn't able to withstand it. If they did not retreat now, they were afraid that they would die here. The sea demon frowned and said solemnly, "Retreat. Return to the Endless City. If that brat from the Long family comes out, he will definitely return to the Endless City." The sea demons were also worried that they would die here. He made a decision on the spot. 5 figures suddenly descended and returned to the Endless City. Deep under the sea, Long Fei carried the water-repelling pearl on his body, and as if he was walking on dry land, he looked at the dazzling golden light emitted by the giant beast under deep sea in the turbid ocean. He leisurely walked forward. Standing in front of the giant beast under deep sea, he said with a cold smile, "I said before, I will definitely take revenge. You almost crippled me yesterday. That's not right. My Emperor incarnation was directly destroyed." When Long Fei thought about the scene of Emperor's body splitting apart and all of the bones in his body fracturing, the fury in his heart surged. Seeing that Long Fei no longer dared to be disrespectful, the giant beast under deep sea directly kneeled on the ground and started begging and started mumbling nonsense. Long Fei did not understand either. Sea Dragon King replied, This guy said he's innocent too. He's responsible for protecting the Death Gate and does not allow anyone to enter. He had no choice but to blast you into the whirlpool and begged you to spare his life. F***CK. Did you say that you had no choice? You said that if I spare your life, I'll spare yours. Have you thought about Emperor? Have you thought about how nearly I was killed by you? Long Fei would not be merciful just because of someone else's begging. That was not his style. The most important point was that this giant beast under deep sea was a golden boss. How could not kill it? Was that worthy of him? Was he worthy of the system? The giant beast under deep sea's body trembled pitifully. Actually, he was the underworld sovereign who knew how many people he had killed in his life and how many fishing boats he had overturned. In the hearts of the fishermen in Endless City, it was a demon. Long Fei shouted, "Hold him!" The 14th dragon ancestor immediately moved, pressing the giant beast under deep sea firmly to the ground. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted into a pleased cold smile and said, "If you meet me, then accept your fate." The sky-burning dragon gun in his hand fiercely stabbed into the chrysanthemum of the giant beast under deep sea. If he said that his chrysanthemum would be destroyed, then his chrysanthemum would definitely be destroyed. Fention forced out, "Have you considered my feelings before?" Long Fei laughed. "You don't feel good about having chrysanthemums? Burning heaven. If you have the guts, use your own guy to blow up his ass." Long Fei laughed. "My guy only dares girls." The bullets exploded one by one. Looking at the last bit of HP on the giant beast under deep sea's head. "Explode for me." Chapter 869, Shocking Scene. Chapter 869, Shocking Scene. Boom. The chrysanthemum exploded, and his health fell to 0. The system sounded out a notification sound. Long Fei checked his striking energy value and felt a burst of regret in his heart. The feeling of not having striking energy value is really bad. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Underworld King Giant Demon, for obtaining 20,000 experience, 800 power of celestial points, and 1 energy values point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Nether King's Sea God's Blood. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Giant Demon Blood Vein. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Underworld King Giant Demon Clone, which can automatically be added to the Beast Transformation Mode system. As the 4 notifications beeped, the system no longer sent out any notifications. Long Fei paused for a moment and said bitterly, "Such a valiant boss. Nothing dropped. System your ass. Don't you know how miserable I am? With an old foodie and more than 1,000 Go soldiers to feed, you will die if you give me more." An item. Not a single item was dropped, other than a few blood vein S. After all, this was a super boss, and the drop rate for those who didn't use striking energy value was that low. Was her character that bad? Long Fei had the urge to cry. The only consolation he had was probably the explosion of the King of Hell's Ocean God's Blood, because it could be considered as completion of the alchemy mission. Your baby is suffering. Long Fei sighed in his heart and said inwardly, I had originally wanted to borrow the Transu Empire's treasure to make a fortune, but who would have thought that I couldn't even get a piece of dog shit? Some treasure of an empire, and I didn't even see a shadow of a person. The entire Transu Empire had already disappeared. After escaping, he encountered another boss. He thought that this would be a turning point in his life. He should be able to drop something, but nothing. Long Fei was in too much of a mess. However, although he didn't get the Transu's treasure this time, he earned a lot of money. Humans were never satisfied by greed. Long Fei was the same. Sigh. Long Fei sighed in his heart. Seems like I still have to participate in the pill competition. If not, I would be sitting on nothing, and these variant crystal nuclei would be eaten up by the ancestors sooner or later. Long Fei was not worried about the variant crystal nuclei. What he was worried about was that after the Yin Huang ancestor finished all the variant crystal nuclei, she would attack his mutated monarch set. 18 sets of overlord equipment. How cool. He did not act tough even once, and did not attract any chicks at all. How could he let Yin Huang ancestor eat him? Not even if he was beaten to death. Boom! A few minutes later, Long Fei rushed out of the water. 14 dragon patriarchs rose to the surface as well. Long Fei slightly said, "You guys are too ostentatious like this. Why not enter your bodies first?" This was the territory of the Western Devil Lord. If they were to be discovered by the Master of Magic tribe, they would definitely not be able to hold back. In terms of the current situation, Long Fei didn't want to mess with this big boss, so why did he say that it was a boss? Not just Western Devil Lord. Also, the supreme god of the Palace Question of God is also a big boss. Because of Song Qianqian's sudden appearance, the big boss in Long Fei's heart had another name, Dark Domain Lord Song Qianqing. Although Long Fei had never seen this guy before, he should be the same as the supreme god and the Western Devil Lord. They were all here for the Dragon Domain. This was the three great bosses in Long Fei's heart. He could also be considered the strongest three great leaders in the gods' martial continent. He hadn't even become a top powerhouse yet, so it was best for him to keep a low profile before going against them. Moreover, under the Green Dragon Ancestor's instigation, Dragon Ancestor and the others definitely won't easily help Long Fei. According to him, there are no shortcuts in cultivation, and you can only rely on yourself to walk out one step at a time. Although Long Fei despised those words, he also wanted to walk his own path, step by step. Boom! With a whoosh sound, the Green Dragon Ancestor turned into a shadow and fiercely rushed into Long Fei's body, returning to the inside of the Green Dragon tripod. Next, the Black Dragon swung its massive tail. Boom! He entered Long Fei's Dragon Salurus. The 8 golden dragons moved at the same time and dispersed throughout Long Fei's entire body. Boom! Ghost Dragon entered his body. Boom! Poisonous Dragon Feathers. Sea Dragon King trembled slightly as he stared at Long Fei and said, "Boss, I'm here." Suddenly, Long Fei seemed to have thought of something and said, "Sea Dragon King, wait a moment." Sea Dragon King could not stop the car and asked, "What's wrong? Boss, is there no space in your body?" He was really afraid of that. During this period of time, fighting together with the Azure Dragon and the others reminded him of the past. When they were still ignorant of the young dragons, the battle of life and death made him think of life and death together, and now he felt like that again. He wanted to be together with them. Long Fei said, "What do you mean there's no space in my body? It's not like I'm in a parking lot. I asked you to give me a drop of your blood essence." The blood essence of the Sea Dragon King was the one that had unlocked the second layer of the Dragon Domain's heart. Long Fei would always remember this in his heart. After returning to the God Emperor Academy, he would definitely study it thoroughly and plan out the path he would take. The gods' martial continent's 3 great bosses pressed down on his heart. The secret of the Dragon Domain. The secret behind the Long family's disappearance. Furthermore, Long Fei had to take care of the calamities of the dragon race as well. He needed to know all of these. Sea Dragon King was shocked and said, "I thought your body was already full. If you want a blood essence, say it earlier. Look how scared I am." Sea Dragon King condensed a drop of blood essence, and the blood essence landed on Long Fei's palm, and he stored it among the space ring. It was also at this time. Rumble. Sea Dragon King entered Long Fei's body forcefully and charged into his body. He shouted excitedly, "Brothers, I'm coming." Sea Dragon King was truly relegated. At this moment, in another area, a few hundred km apart in the ocean, the sea monster's eyes trembled as its entire body trembled. It excitedly asked, "Did you see it clearly? Did you see it clearly? How many? How many?" The messenger of Magic Master beside him also had an incomparably astonished expression. Looking at everything that was happening in the distance, he did not dare believe it, and his lips trembled as he said, 10, 14, 14. 14 huge dragons. Dragon race, they're all dragons. Could it be that the Dragon Domain has opened? Dragons were strong creatures in everyone's heart. Ever since the Dragon Domain disappeared, there were no more such giant dragons. It was as if they had forever disappeared. However, their fear and respect for the dragon had never disappeared. On the contrary, because the longer the dragon domain disappeared, the more respect they felt for the dragon. The sudden appearance of 14 huge dragons caused their hearts to pound. As they watched the 14 gigantic dragons charge into a person's body, their hearts were almost unable to withstand the pressure. It was too shocking. Wait for me at Endless City. I will immediately report it to the Master of Magic Tribe. Chapter 870, Little Beauty, You're Finally Back. Chapter 870, Little Beauty, You're Finally Back. Sea Dragon King, you are senior and are the second general of God's martial continent. Your strength is only inferior to the Yuan Long, but you are a newbie here. So, we have to rearrange the rankings. The Blood Dragon said seriously. Sea Dragon King said slightly, Blood Dragon, do you want to redraw the rankings? Come, let's go out and have a chat alone. The Blood Dragon ancestor immediately became listless and said, Sea Dragon King, you are a barbarian. Don't use force so easily. Sea Dragon King said, Of course. If you are unconvinced, we can settle it by force. F*CK. You really are a bore, I won't tell you. Blood Dragon ancestor immediately did not speak. He wasn't a match for the two of them. Do you think that the Second Great War of the Dragon Domain was called for nothing? All the dragons began to roar with laughter. Ha ha ha. Poisonous ancestor giggled. Sea Dragon King, if you have the guts, let me smack you with my ass first. I'll fight with you. Sea Dragon King arrogantly said, Old Poison, do you believe that I won't slap your ass out of your mouth? Ha ha. Another burst of laughter. The atmosphere was really good. Green Dragon ancestor coughed and said, Stop messing around. There are some things that you need to talk about. The Azure Dragon was a schemer. As soon as his words fell, everyone quieted down. Green Dragon ancestor said, We are already clear about how weak our boss is when we travel to Transu. In the past, we thought boss was very weak, so weak that he couldn't even withstand a single blow. The truly weak one is us, so we still have 5 more years to go. In these 5 years, we have to use everything we have to cultivate and break through, and before the Dragon Domain opens, we have to make ourselves strong enough to defend against this tribulation. This might be our last chance. Not this time. We will never be able to turn the situation around. Everyone fell silent. They weren't even able to withstand the force of variation of the tribulation that the Transu S had transcended. If it was true Calamity's power, they would have been killed instantly without even thinking. Back then, if it wasn't for the Yuan Long keeping them here. They're dead now. This time, if they failed again, then they really wouldn't have a chance to turn the situation around. The Green Dragon ancestor continued to speak. Also, Sea Dragon King, you can't tell boss about the matters of the Dragon Domain, the Dragon Race, or the Long family. Let him solve it step by step. Dragon Domain also needs him to personally go and open it. We can't help him, and even more so, we can't take him along shortcuts because this is his path. Sea Dragon King nodded and said, I understand. The Green Dragon ancestor knew that there were many differences between the current Long Fei and the previous Yuan Long. Long Fei had to walk his own path. Thus, there were many times when they wouldn't care about Long Fei's life or death, because the limit was already being used to break it. What was Long Fei's limit? Until now, they still had not discovered the extent of Long Fei's limit. They thought that Long Fei was not Dryad King's match, that Dryad King had been viciously killed. They thought that Long Fei would not be able to withstand the Sea Dragon King's 3 moves, but Long Fei did. They thought that Long Fei was not a match for Transu Emperor, but Long Fei had almost insta-killed him. The Azure Dragon couldn't be seen at all. If the Green Dragon ancestor had let Long Fei escape while they were still Dryad King, they would not have been able to see what happened afterwards. Thus, they knew this. Long Fei's path would definitely be his own. They could not interfere. Green Dragon ancestor muttered in his heart, Boss, you only have 5 years. Only 5 years. The fate of the dragon race is in your hands. Moreover, the fate of Long family is also in your hands. To the Dragon Clan, this is a tribulation that lasts for 3,330,000 years. It is also a tribulation that lasts for your long family. Boss, you have to become stronger as soon as possible. Long Fei could not hear the meetings of the dragon ancestors. However, he knew clearly in his heart that he would have to walk his own path in the future. The Azure Dragon wouldn't help, and neither would Sea Dragon King. The limit, only in the desperate situations of life and death could he continuously break through. 5 days later, at Endless City's port. Huff! Long Fei took a deep breath. I'm finally back. I almost lost my life. Long Fei jumped down from a small, dilapidated fishing boat that still leaked water. He held Song Qianqian's hand with his left, while his right hand pulled Ling Long and the other two to land. The two of them recovered very quickly, fast to the point that even Long Fei was jealous. This was also because of the blood veins' power within their bodies. One was the primordial profound female blood vein, and the other was a vein of ancient rosefinch. Both of them possessed incomparable strength of blood vein, which made Long Fei urge in his heart. Ancestor, my blood vein, you ate my crystal core, deity crystal. Can you do something to me? Yin Huang Ancestor coughed a few times and said, Brat, why are you in such a hurry? Don't you know how difficult it is to work slowly? Long Fei said, Look at them. They're all powerful blood vein. I want them too. Pan Shung's Pangu bloodline. These ancient superfamilies were all passed down through powerful blood vein S. If not, they would not be able to get up from the ground after being suppressed by the Long family this time. With the rise of the Pan family, more and more superfamilies would appear, and these superfamilies would come to suppress the Long family. All of them were high-level blood vein S, holy vein S, ancient blood vein S. Long Fei wanted them too. Yan Huang Ancestor said, Don't worry, it won't be long before it'll be completed. That's what you said. Long Fei immediately said. Yan Huang Ancestor disdainfully said, Damn, you still don't believe in my ability? Long Fei said, Do you want to hear the truth? Yan Huang Ancestor said, Speak. Long Fei said, I don't really believe, I only believe that you can eat. Yan Huang Ancestor's body sank, as if he was struck by lightning. Long Fei asked, What's wrong with you? Yan Huang Ancestor said, My liver hurts, I don't want to talk to you. Long Fei grinned and did not speak any further. Actually, Long Fei also knew in his heart that there were some things that couldn't be rushed. The matter of the blood vein would definitely shock him, and he was also incomparably looking forward to it. Long Fei walked to the entrance of the Endless City and said, Both of you are still recovering. Rest in the city for a day, and return to the God Emperor Academy tomorrow. At the entrance of the city, in the restaurant, the vulgar man with the harpoon sat at the window. He was the one who sat at the same seat as Song Qianqian previously, but now, this seat had already been reserved by him. He looked at the city gate and murmured, My little beauty, where did you go? Suddenly, his eyes flashed with a bright light. Little beauty. Chapter 871, Drunkenness Wine. Chapter 871, Drunkenness Wine. Quickly go to the city lord's mansion and get someone. When the vulgar man saw Long Fei, his eyes flashed with a cold light. The last time he was sent flying by Long Fei, he had to get back at him. He believed that he would definitely not let Long Fei escape this time. Let's eat something here first. I'm really hungry. Long Fei walked into the tavern and shouted at the shopkeeper, Bring all the dishes you have. It was also at this time. He walked to Song Qianqian's side and asked in concern, Little beauty, did he do anything to you? Without waiting for Song Qianqian to speak, Long Fei took a step forward and instantly slapped him. You look too ugly, it affects my appetite, get out. Pa! With a slap, the man was sent flying out of the tavern and smashed into the street, causing him to fall flat on his face. Long Fei's eyes were wide open as he stared at the lackeys and said, Should I do it? Or should you guys do it yourselves? He attacked without saying a word. Long Fei didn't give the vulgar man a chance to react at all. Those lackeys didn't dare to resist. In Endless City, there were local serpents, but a fierce dragon was just like a river. Even local serpents like them couldn't defend against them. A few underlings immediately jumped out of the window. Coincidentally, Just as the man was getting up, he smashed down, pressing the man firmly onto the ground. "Io, my waist! This is so painful." Long Fei did not pay attention to him and said, "Boss, what are you daydreaming for? Quickly order the dishes. I'm going to faint from hunger." The innkeeper was startled and immediately urged, "Quick, quick, serve the dishes to this lord." He was also afraid of Long Fei. All the customers in the tavern left in a mere minute, because they knew the identity of the vulgar man. He was the nephew of the Endless City's city lord, and also the tyrant of the Endless City. None of the people who provoked him had a good ending. If they didn't turn into a cripple, they would be beaten to death. A few kind-hearted people said to Long Fei, "Young lad, stop eating and quickly leave the city. If you're late, you won't be able to leave." Youngsters nowadays are too impetuous. They don't even think about the consequences if they attack without a word. It's easy to get into trouble when you're young. Long Fei only smiled faintly and did not pay any attention to him. After floating in the sea for 5 days, he was now so hungry that his chest was pressed against his back. Even if the sky collapsed, he still had to fill his stomach. Song Qianqian and Ling Long also needed to recover their stamina. The best way to recover physical strength was to replenish energy and eat. Seeing that Long Fei did not listen to them, the few kind-hearted people did not dare to stay any longer and quickly left the tavern. Outside the tavern, the vulgar man cursed loudly. "Brat, today you're dead for sure. You tried to steal my woman, but you didn't ask around in the Endless City to find out who I am." Without waiting for the man to finish, Long Fei flung the chicken bone in his mouth with his right hand and used the technique literally flying dagger. "Huh!" It directly shot into the vulgar man's mouth and once again flipped him over. Long Fei's cold voice came out and said, "If you let me hear your voice again, I won't be flying like a chicken bone." Long Fei tore off a piece of chicken leg and started to wolf it down. While he was wolfing down his food, there was still a group of people in the room. Messenger of Magic Master slightly said, "Master Sea Demon, he is that brat from Long family, named Long Fei." When they came back from the sea, they had been waiting for Long Fei at Endless City. The moment Long Fei had landed on the shore, they had known and were sure that Long Fei would come to Endless City. They were waiting here. He is an esteemed guest of the Master of Magic tribe. While they were talking, the Sea Demon waved his right hand and said, "Bring him a bottle of good wine. Consider it a small gift." Messenger of Magic Master took the wine pot and asked, "Master, what wine is this?" Sea Demon grinned and said, "Drunken God wine." The Messenger of Magic Master was startled, but immediately followed up with an excited laugh. "Understood." And then, Messenger of Magic Master did not personally send the wine, but rather stayed in the backyard to be served by an assistant. Big fish and big meat, you must have wine. Otherwise, how boring would it be? "Wine, wine, wine," Long Fei shouted. As the Drunken God wine was served, Long Fei drank it all without thinking. The wine was burning hot like a flame from his throat all the way to his stomach, causing his stomach to churn violently. Long Fei's face was completely red. His nose and ears were filled with anger. "Damn, this wine. Isn't it too fierce? Gudong, gudong." After continuously pouring it into his stomach, his mouth felt like it was about to burst into flames. It was as if his entire body was rolling in the flames. It was an indescribably comfortable and relaxing feeling. Long Fei roared out, "Do you still have more wine like that? 10 more jars." Plop! The Sea Demon in the room almost fell off her chair as her face paled. Is this guy crazy? The raw materials for the Drunken God wine were extremely precious. Just a small pot like this would cost a single immortal crystal, but Long Fei was stuffy over it. This was something that could even make a god drunk. It was something that could only be done with a single drop. Long Fei was actually like a completely fine person. Even the kaiju himself couldn't take it. Messenger of Magic Master slightly asked, "Master, what do we do? I want to see how long you can last." Finished. He took out another 10 flasks of Drunken God wine. These were his last 10 flasks, and each jug was equivalent to his lifeline. In order to bring Long Fei into the Demon City, he would risk it all. Messenger of Magic Master brought down the 10 jugs of wine, causing the sea demon's heart to ache. Holy sh**t. This wine is so good. Long Fei picked up the wine pot and poured it in, the kind of energy that would make his entire body clash, absorbing everything in his body crazily. It was as if he was constantly breaking through his limits. It had to be said that this feeling was very exciting. Long Fei was not an idiot. He naturally knew that this kind of divine wine could not be found in such a small place. There had to be someone here, although he didn't know who it was. But since there was such a good wine, wouldn't he just waste it to show his own worth? Other than that, every time Long Fei drank the drunken god wine, the system would send a notification sound. Ding! System notification. Player Long Fei has become 10% more drunk. Ding! System notification. Player Long Fei has become 10% more drunk. A single pot of wine was equivalent to an increase of 10%. If he were to reach 100%, what would happen? Something must have come out. Long Fei dared to guarantee that the system would not make a sound for no reason. And this strong alcohol was filled with dense energy. Just the smell of the wine made Song Qianqian and Ling Long a little drunk. Song Qianqian secretly locked the space between his brows and said, "Long Fei, there's something wrong with the wine." Ling Long also noticed it and said, "This wine has a special smell and is not made from ordinary grains. Senior brother, drink slowly." The two of them also discovered some clues. Long Fei laughed and did not stop. He drank the 11th jug of wine. The system sounded out a notification sound. Long Fei shouted excitedly, "Coming! Ding!" Chapter 872, Wine God Title. Chapter 872, Wine God Title. The system would not sound out a notification for no reason. There must be a reason. After using the system for a few years, Long Fei was very clear on this point. He poured the 10th pot of drunken wine into his stomach, but did not trigger it. He only increased his drunkenness to 100%. The 11th jug of wine entered his stomach. The system sounded out, "Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for reaching 200% drunkenness. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the title of Wine God. You have received 10,000 experience points, 1,000 power of celestial points, and 1,000 points as a special reward. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Divine Awakened Fist. Do you wish to learn it?" As expected, through the system, Long Fei found a title on top of his head, Wine God. Cultivate. Long Fei moved his body and started practicing the intoxicated Divine Fist. He was completely awake now, just like a normal person, except he was currently in a state of intoxication that others would not be able to detect. The Messenger of Magic Master said slightly, "Lord Sea Demon, he's fine. Is there a problem with your wine?" "Impossible. I personally made every single pot of Drunken God wine. There shouldn't be any problems. I can only make 1 cup at a time. If he doesn't die from drinking 11 bottles of Drunken God wine, he'll be drunk for at least 10 days to half a month." Messenger of Magic Master asked, "Then why does he look like a person who is fine?" The sea demon recalled the scene of the 14 dragon tribes entering his body from the sea. His eyebrows tightened. The dragon's power must have been neutralized by the dragon's power. "All right then. In that case, we'll rob them." The sea demons had no other choice. He had originally wanted to use a less troublesome method to bring Long Fei to the demon city, but now it seemed that he could only be dealt with by force. However, when the sea demon thought about the scene of 14th dragon ancestor entering Long Fei's body, his heart grew cold. How can he be an opponent? Just as they were thinking about how to take Long Fei to the demon city, a series of loud noises came from the streets of Endless City. Endless City bodyguards rushed over. His aura shook the heavens. The man's anger flared up, and he shouted, "Here, here! Uncle! He's here!" When the army of guards arrived, the vulgar man became even more unrestrained. He shouted complacently at Long Fei, who was in the tavern, "You dog, today I, your father, want your life?" Schwan. A chopstick pierced through the void and pierced through the vulgar man's throat. The man spat out his eyes as he clutched his throat blood gushing out from his mouth. He fell to the ground and twitched his legs a few times. Dead. One-hit kill. The system sounded out. Long Fei did not care about it, but was secretly shocked. Damn, the title of Wine God actually has the effect of increasing power. The strength from earlier was clearly stronger than before. Once the vulgar man died, the few lackeys beside him were so scared that their legs turned to jelly, and they started shouting for help. City Lord, the young master is dead. The young master is dead. When a pot-bellied middle-aged man saw his nephew lying in a pool of blood, all hope went out of him. He immediately became furious and shouted, "Cut him into 10,000 pieces. Kill him." In the tavern, Song Qianqian suddenly stood up. Ling Long also stood up. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up slightly, and he laughed lightly. "You guys eat slowly. I just so happen to see how strong the fist techniques that I had just comprehended are." Finished. Without waiting for the guards to rush in, Long Fei's figure blurred. Rumble. The guards who rushed up to the tavern's entrance were all rushed out by him alone. Drunken God Fist. Long Fei tilted his body, as though he was falling on the ground, and suddenly punched out. The power of this punch was extremely strong. In that moment, all the strength in his body circulated to a point, and with one move, his entire body moved. His strength broke through the air, and a single punch was enough to kill him. Bam! A guard was sent flying hundreds of meters away, his internal organs all shattered. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Endless City Guard for obtaining 1000 EXP, 100 power of Celestial, and 10 energy values. Sharp! Long Fei shouted these 2 words, and then threw out another punch. Another instant kill. Long Fei was now at the 8th stage of the Virtual Immortals. Adding the power in the intoxicated state, coupled with the power of the intoxicated God Fist, he struck his fist out explosively. Facing these spiritual level guards, they were all instantly killed. All of a sudden, corpses flew everywhere. Long Fei's drunk figure continued to travel back and forth. In the box, the messenger of Magic Master was stunned as he muttered, "Lord Sea Demon, can your wine still increase its power? Why haven't I seen you increase your strength before?" The Sea Demon's heart was filled with endless bitterness. "Leave. I don't want to talk to you." This was too much of a blow. It was obviously the wine he brewed, but he actually didn't know that the drunken god wine had this kind of effect. He brewed it on a dogs based on his own brewing method. At the same time, the Sea Demon watched as Long Fei went berserk all the way, and the space between his eyebrows tightened. This is a good opportunity to control those 2 women downstairs. A few Magic Tribe immediately stood up. Messenger of Magic Master also instantly frowned and said slightly, "Lord Sea Demon is also Lord Sea Demon." The Sea Demon shouted, "Cut the crap. Hurry up and do it." In addition, one of them is Song Qinqing's adopted daughter. You guys need to be careful. Don't hurt her. She might become our young master's wife in the future. He was clear on this point. Moreover, this was something that young Master Zhou Lai had specially sent someone to ask him to be careful. On the street, Long Fei threw punches randomly, without any pattern or technique, without any movement. It was simply the intoxicated divine fist. Endless City's guards were completely disintegrated by his barrage. Long Fei stared at the pot-bellied fatty and said, "Who wants to dismember my body into 1,000 pieces just now?" That fatty's face turned white as he said, "Brat, this is Endless City. It is the territory of the demon area. If you dare to act wantonly here, this master of Magic Tribe will not forgive you." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei's figure moved. "Fuck Luo Li, stop being so annoying and just turn it into my experience." Shua! He threw a punch, sending him flying into the air. His body moved, and he leaped into the air. Both of his fists landed heavily on Yi Shiwen's head. 2 strikes. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Endless City Lord for obtaining 12,000 experience, 200 power of celestial points, 10 energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Immortal Crystal. It would only drop a single Immortal Crystal. Long Fei disdained. You poor bastard. It was also at this time. Long Fei's heart trembled. The fight just now was too fun. It caused him to forget something. The drunken god wine was definitely not given to him by the Endless City Lord. A pauper like him would never have such a good thing. Long Fei's eyes narrowed. Crap. Chapter 873, Threatening the Demon City. Chapter 873, Threatening the Demon City. The Divine Awakening Fist was like a quick game. It was a wild, chaotic, exhilarating journey. So much so that Long Fei forgot about Song Qianqian and Ling Long. When he thought about that, he realized that Song Qianqian and Ling Long were already standing on the street, bound by two magic tribes. Messenger of Magic Master walked out with a faint smile, looked at Long Fei, and said, "We meet again." He was the magic tribe that appeared at Undead City last time. Long Fei's brows tightened. Looking at Song Qianqian and Ling Long, the anger in his heart instantly ignited as he coldly said, "If I were you, I would release them." Messenger of Magic Master immediately said, "Don't worry, we will definitely not hurt them, but our Master Magic Tribe wants to see you. If you can come with us, I can guarantee with my life that nothing will happen to them." Song Qianqian immediately said, "Long Fei, you can't go." Ling Long also followed, "Senior brother, you can't go." Messenger of Magic Master's forehead turned sinister, his face darkened, and he laughed. "They're all your women. You don't want to see them die here, right? Threatening me?" Long Fei was unsure of what he wanted to do, and he thought to himself, "Western Devil Lord wants to see me? Revenge? Impossible. If he was going to take revenge, then why did he come personally?" Regardless if what the Messenger of Magic Master said was true, he could not threaten him, nor could he use the lives of the people around him to threaten him. This had already touched the bottom line in Long Fei's heart. Adding the state of being drunk, the flames of fury on Long Fei's body started to burn. Messenger of Magic Master's face froze for a moment. Thinking back to the last time when Long Fei used that giant golden palm that descended from the sky, his heart trembled. He couldn't withstand that kind of impact. Messenger of Magic Master replied immediately, "It's not a threat, but if we were to invite you over, you would definitely not agree to it. Long Fei, we did not want to hurt you, nor did Master of Magic Tribe want to hurt you. Otherwise, we would have already attacked you when you were in the Endless Mountain." The anger on Long Fei's body burned hotter and hotter. "Let them go," Long Fei said gloomily. Although he was afraid of Long Fei in his heart, but he was even more afraid of the punishment that the Master of Magic Tribe would give him. Seeing Long Fei's cold eyes, Messenger of Magic Master walked over to Ling Long's side. His aura instantly burst forth, enveloping Ling Long completely as he said, "Long Fei, you are very strong, but no matter how strong you will not be as fast as me. I don't want to hurt them, but if you dare to take a step forward, then I'll have to ruthlessly destroy them." His power surged like a prehistoric beast opening its bloody jaws. If Long Fei moved the slightest bit, Ling Long would instantly die. Ling Long shouted, "Senior brother, don't worry about us. Hurry up and run." In her heart, Master of Magic Tribe was not a good person. She knew that Long Fei would definitely be injured if he entered the demon area. With Long Fei's strength, it would not be difficult for him to escape. Cluck, cluck. Long Fei clenched his teeth tightly. In his drunken state, he was extremely irritable in his heart and was unable to calm down. However, he was clear about one thing. If he were to make a move, Ling Long would really die. He brought Ling Long out. He also wanted to bring her back to the God Emperor Academy. Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief and said, "I'll follow you. Let them go." Messenger of Magic Master's heart that was hanging at his throat relaxed as cold sweat dripped down from his palms. If Long Fei were to make a move and Ling Long dies, then he would probably be killed by Long Fei as well. However, he won the bet just now. Messenger of Magic Master was secretly happy. "Long Fei, is this your weakness?" And then, the Messenger of Magic Master said slightly, "How should I trust you?" Long Fei's eyes slightly narrowed and said, "I, Long Fei, will keep my word." If I said I would go with you, I will definitely go with you. The atmosphere was extremely tense. Messenger of Magic Master's heart almost could not bear it. I don't care. The sea demon said that he definitely could not let go of Song Qianqian and Ling Long, but he was a little unable to endure the pressure that was being emitted from Long Fei's body. While they were talking, Messenger of Magic Master ordered Song Qianqian to be released. Song Qianqian did not leave and said, I will exchange with her. Let her go. I will go with you. Ling Long shook her head. Sister Qian, hurry up and leave with senior brother. Don't worry about me. Messenger of Magic Master shouted. It is my decision who is allowed to live. There was naturally a reason to let Song Qianqian go, and the reason was that he did not dare to do anything to Song Qianqian either. Furthermore, Song Qianqian's cultivation was very strong. If the smell of the intoxicated god, wine, did not cause them to sink into a state of slight intoxication, it would not have been easy for them to capture Song Qianqian. And then again, Ling Long was simple and easy to control. The risk was also much smaller. Messenger of Magic Master said lightly, I will release another one when we reach the Demon City. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. He was truly unhappy about the feeling of being threatened, very unhappy. Long Fei moved. He took a small step forward. Messenger of Magic Master immediately became nervous and said, Long Fei, she's your little junior sister, right? You don't want to see her die here, do you? The Dark Sea Demons were also preparing to take action. If Long Fei dared to move, he would instantly attack. Only the few of them were left on the street, and those ordinary citizens couldn't withstand the aura being emitted from their bodies. Huff! Huff! Long Fei deeply exhaled 2 breaths. His body relaxed as he said, All right, we'll do as you say. He had won again, and he was even more certain that the relatives around Long Fei were his fatal weakness. Messenger of Magic Master smiled and took out a pellet from his bosom. This is a soul-sealing pellet. It will allow you to lose your power of Celestial within 24 hours. There's no other way. You're too strong, so I have to be on guard. He advanced another step and once again tried to test Long Fei's bottom line. Long Fei received the soul-sealing pellet in one hand. Without even thinking, he swallowed the soul-sealing pellet, and with a voice filled with rage, he asked, Is it okay now? Song Qianqian simply did not have time to stop them. The soul-locking pill was a kind of magic pill. Once it entered the body, it would imprison the power of Celestial. A warrior would not have any power of Celestial value. So other than the body being a little stronger, he was no different from an ordinary person. However, Long Fei did not frown at all. It didn't matter if she touched him, but he could not touch the people around him. Moreover, the soul-sealing pellet, for a man with a pubes that was damaged and didn't have a power of Celestial, was it useful? Even if it worked. To a person who possessed a chaos realm in their body, breaking through the soul-locking pill was an easy task. After doing all of this, the Messenger of Magic Master let out a sigh of relief. At this moment, the moment the sea demon appeared, a palm descended. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, and he did not try to dodge it. His entire body fainted from the impact. The moment he closed his eyes, a man suddenly appeared beside Song Qianqian. Young Devil Lord Zhou. Chapter 874, Western Devil Lord. Chapter 874, Western Devil Lord. He was tricked. Was he tricked by Song Qianqian? At that moment, Long Fei did not know, but his heart was in complete chaos. However, the instant he closed his eyes, he saw the man beside Song Qianqian blocking her shoulders, and a pleased cold smile surfaced on his face. Had he been tricked? He had lost consciousness for who knows how long. Long Fei felt his head sink, followed by a surge of powerful energy surging through his body, causing him to become clear-headed. Boom! Long Fei shook his brain, his eyes opened wide in anger. He first felt secretly his energy flow was very normal, and he did not seal the power of Celestial because of the soul-locking pill. Then he looked around at his surroundings. This was a gigantic devil palace. It was like an ancient temple with a few furious diamond gigantic demons sitting on both sides of the hall. In the middle was a giant demon that was riding on a cloud, its body filled with a thick aura of power. This was the Demon Palace. The statue in the hall was indeed of the Western Devil Lord. The moment Long Fei woke up, a resounding voice sounded, "You're awake?" Long Fei stood up, looked at the giant demon in the middle, and asked, "Are you talking?" Buzz! A ball of mist condensed from all directions and rapidly condensed into a face that looked exactly like the statue and said, "I am Western Devil Lord." "Oh," Long Fei said, "no need to introduce yourself. You've gone through so much trouble to get me here. Just say it directly. Don't beat around the bush." The Western Devil Lord smiled and said, "Very straightforward. I want you to serve me. I can guarantee that you won't die." Long Fei found it somewhat funny and said, "On what basis do you want me to serve you? Is it because you've brought me here?" Let's get to the point. What guarantee that he wouldn't die? Long Fei's life had never been in the hands of others. Nothing else. Just the Super Saiyan and Big Day Tashigata themselves had already cooled down. It was unknown who was the one to spare and who was the one to not die. If Long Fei could see the real Western Devil Lord, he really wanted to give it a try. Who knows? Then again, the giant demons of the breaking through the seal were basically suppressed by the Long family back then. They hated the Long family to the bones and definitely would not let it go. Guaranteed that he wouldn't die. This kind of words only came out from Western Devil Lord's mouth when he was trying to trick a 3-year-old child. Western Devil Lord said indifferently, "Back then your Long family suppressed me, suppressed countless powerhouses. I can help you settle all of these on the condition that you serve me, serve my open dragon domain. I want to obtain dragon domain's treasures." "Right." Long Fei laughed. "Just get to the point." Long Fei continued, "On what basis can I become an open dragon domain?" "Do you know what's in the treasures of the dragon domain?" Western Devil Lord said, "You are the son of the prophecy, and only the people of the Long family can find the dragon domain and open him up. This is a prophecy that has been passed down for millions of years. As for what is inside the dragon domain's treasure deposit, I'm not sure either. Rumor has it that there are countless foreign holy artifact and secret arts that allow one to cultivate longevity. No one has ever been to the dragon domain, and no one can explain it clearly." Western Devil Lord did not hide from him. When the Long family was playing him not long ago, when he escaped from the breaking through the seal, he had a faint feeling that the former Long family was playing a very big game of chess. And all of the central points were gathered around the Long family boy, Long Fei. What could a kid from the virtual immortals stage change? However, the entire God's martial continent swirled around him. He was the eye of the storm. As the Western Devil Lord, if he wanted to be in an invincible position, he had to seize the initiative. He had to control Long Fei first and step into the dragon domain first. This way, he would be able to rule over the entire God's martial continent. Outer Realm Holy Artifact. The divine abilities and secret arts of longevity are really tempting. Long Fei was drooling, and he thought to himself, "Dragon Domain really has a treasure trove. Since you said that only I can use the open dragon domain, do I need to be of use to you? And you even threatened me to promise me that you won't die. I'm really afraid. So what about your Western Devil Lord?" Long Fei was not afraid in the slightest. "So what if you're a Western Devil Lord?" These words were filled with a domineering aura, as if he didn't care about them at all. Western Devil Lord trembled slightly and said, "Back then, I always said that Long Wushan was the most arrogant person in the world, but it seems like you are today the most arrogant person." Long Wushan was also a flying fairyland back then. He had the qualifications to be arrogant. What about you? However, the virtual immortal stage is already so arrogant. The people of the Long family truly do not know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is. As soon as he finished, that ball of mist became sinister. That huge face struggled fiercely as if it was about to break some shackles. He said in a gloomy voice, "Aren't you afraid that I will kill you?" Long Fei slightly lifted his eyes and said, "I'm afraid I won't be coming." Western Devil Lord was startled. "You mean Long Fei laughed faintly. You think you can take me down with just the few people you sent? If I didn't want to know what you were up to, I really wouldn't be interested in coming here. You want to kill me? If you have the guts, come at me, Long Fei said arrogantly. Moreover, you won't be able to kill me either. I am your only hope, and you won't let me die before we find the dragon domain. He finally knew why the God Emperor Academy Elder Jiujio had helped him even at several crucial moments. So that was the case. Long Fei thought to himself in his heart, I can be reckless once I return to the God Emperor Academy. Western Devil Lord stared fixedly at Long Fei, wanting to see through Long Fei. But the more he looked, the more confused he became. The big boy who was in his early 20s in front of him was truly different. Suddenly, Western Devil Lord laughed out loud and said, I will indeed not kill you, but what about the people around you? Your woman, your brother, your Nantian region's relatives, their lives. Not waiting for him to finish. The aura on Long Fei's body fiercely ignited. The head of the Yuan Long and the power of the Yuan Long's body erupted from his sea of consciousness as the power Long Fei released formed a gigantic dragon's roar. Roar, Long Fei said solemnly. If you dare to touch one of them, I'm not Long Wushan. If he doesn't kill you, I will. Eerie and domineering. The powerful killing intent coming from Long Fei filled every corner of the Great Hall, and the entire Great Hall was faintly trembling. His family, his brothers, and his women were his weak spots. Nobody can move. If he touched them, he would die. In that instant, Western Devil Lord was stunned by the flames released from Long Fei's body. What a terrifying aura. At the same time, his heart also became slightly excited. As expected, this is your fatal weakness. That's enough, Western Devil Lord smiled faintly and said, You can go. Before we go, let me remind you that Palace Question of God Supreme God and Great Elder Gu Tong Tian are your archenemies. Chapter 875. Sorry, I almost lost you. Chapter 875. Sorry, I almost lost you outside the Demon City. Long Fei's gaze was lifeless, his brows knitted tightly. My father. Is my father dead? Is he no longer in this world? Long Fei kept asking himself in his mind. He did not know how credible Western Devil Lord's words were. Or was it that he was purposely provoking his relationship with the Palace Question of God? But there was no need. Long Fei had known from the first time he had entered the outer space palace that there would be a day when he would take Palace Question of God out, and there was no need to provoke him. Could it be that what he said is true? Long Fei's mind was in a mess. He is the only son of the prophecy. Only the people from the Long family are able to remove the seal on the dragon domain. Could it be that my father had the same experience as me, and that he just didn't open the dragon domain like a useless chess piece and was thrown away and killed? Humph! Father, no matter what happens, I will make everything clear. Who killed you? I will return 10,000 times the same. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. At this moment, Ling Long ran up, and before Long Fei could react, she threw herself into his embrace. Senior brother, I'm really worried about you. Long Fei's expression recovered. He gently patted Ling Long's back and laughed. I'm fine. There is no one in this world who dares to do anything to your senior brother. Ling Long sobbed softly. Long Fei's heart was in pain. This trip had scared her quite a bit. Long Fei looked at his surroundings and asked, What about 1,000? Ling Long shook her head and said, Sister Qian Qian left with an unfamiliar man. Before she left, she said that you would definitely be fine. Ling Long left Long Fei's embrace, looked at Long Fei, and asked, Senior brother, Sister Qian, will anything happen to you? Long Fei turned around and looked at the demon city that was now like a great and ferocious beast and smiled. She should be fine, right? Song Qianqian's identity was that of the young miss of the Dark Domain. That was all he knew. What was the relationship between the Dark Domain and the demon area? Long Fei didn't know. Long Fei realized that he knew very little about Song Qianqian, and he didn't even know what kind of person Song Qianqian was. Long Fei felt a little bitter in his heart. Every person's burden is different. Their mission is different. Maybe your mission is to get close to me, and know the next path of dragon domain, right? Huff. Long Fei exhaled and said, "Let's go to God Emperor's city." He didn't want to think about it. Whether or not Song Qianqian had a reason to get close to him or no reason to do so, the only thing Long Fei could do was not to forget her initial intention and advance forward. Then again, there was still a little more than a month before the Academy's tournament. He had to wholeheartedly devote himself to this challenge. Long Fei brought Ling Long and walked in the direction of endless mountains. Ling Long asked, "Senior brother, don't you need to wait for Sister Qianqian?" Long Fei said, "No need, nothing will happen to her." Ling Long said, "Senior brother, Sister Qian cried before she left." Long Fei replied, "Oh, when she was in the Transu continent, she wanted to die together with you. I could tell that she truly liked you, and at that time, she was very fortunate. I don't know why, but even though I was about to die, she was smiling very happily." Suddenly, Long Fei stopped and clenched his fists tightly. After pausing for a few seconds, Long Fei's clenched fists slowly relaxed and suddenly grew even tighter. On the walls of the demon city, Song Qianqian cried like a tearman. He didn't know why, but he was sad, and he wanted to cry, but he couldn't control himself. He had never cried before. As she watched Long Fei walk further and further away, her tears continuously poured out. Standing beside her was a man, young Devil Lord Zhou Lai. Zhou Lai looked at Long Fei, who had disappeared into the distance, and a smile emerged on his face. He smiled proudly, as if he had won the next battle. They were betting. Zhou Lai bet that Long Fei would definitely not wait for her. But now, Long Fei had gone far away, and Song Qianqian had lost. The price of losing was to give up on Long Fei. Zhou Lai lightly patted Song Qianqian's shoulders and consoled him. He will definitely not return. "Qianqian, what identity do you have? What identity does he have? The two of you are bound and never come back. In this world, I'm the only one who truly treats you with my heart. I love you the most." Suddenly, just when Zhou Lai was feeling extremely proud, a voice suddenly came from the sky. Long Fei stared at him and said, "Stay away from my woman, or I will kill you." As soon as he finished, Long Fei walked in front of Song Qianqian. He was extremely tyrannical, just like a tyrannical CEO. He grabbed Song Qianqian in his arms and said softly, "I'm sorry, I almost lost you." At this moment, Song Qianqian was startled for a second. Following that, her tears fell like a dam that burst as she leaned on Long Fei's shoulder and cried her heart out. Woo woo woo, woo woo. Long Fei's heart was instantly defeated. His heart ached. Ling Long panted heavily as she ran to the city gate. Seeing Long Fei carrying Song Qianqian in his arms, she giggled. At this moment, Zhou Lai clenched his teeth, the aura on his body ignited, and he shouted out, "Long Fei." Long Fei stared at him and said, "Why are you calling for your father? You're courting death." Ah! Zhou Lai was infuriated. The power of the golden immortal peak realm on his body burst forth, and the demon immortal roots on his body also burst out. A powerful fiend energy came crashing down. Song Qianqian's tears fell, and she asked, "Zhou Lai, what are you planning to do?" Zhou Lai yelled, "What are you doing? I will kill him." Since he was young, he had been in charge of everything with Song Qianqian. They cultivated together, ate together, and from young, he had always treated Song Qianqian as his future wife. Previously, his status was low and he didn't dare to reveal it. Now, he was a descendant of the Western Devil Lord, and his status was above the Dark Domain's master Song Qianqing. He had the qualifications to express his feelings, and he also believed that he and Song Qianqian were a match made in heaven. However, what Long Fei had done earlier had undoubtedly ignited the fury in the depths of his heart. With a jolt of his body, a powerful force burst forth from his body. At the same time, Long Fei blocked Song Qianqian behind him, and with a step, he shouted, "Come if you dare!" Roar! Both of Long Fei's fists became heavy, and the aura from his body also immediately soared. His fighting spirit ignited, forming a thick layer of flames that directly collided with the flames of chi released from Zhou Lai's body. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of thunder continuously echoed in the air. Zhou Lai frowned. A mere trash of the virtual immortal stage. You want to fight with me for a woman? Who do you think you are? Who do you think your Long family is? Zhou Lai roared. The black golden sword in his hand moved, the 1,000 layers of sword images attacking Xiang Longfei. Chapter 876, Purple Gold Superboss. Chapter 876, Purple Gold Superboss, Long Fei. Be careful, Song, Qianqian exclaimed. She was very clear about what kind of cultivation Zhou Lai had and what sword technique he was training in. Golden Immortal Peak Realm. It could be said that he was the #1 person among the younger generation, adding on the power of the Western Devil Lord's devil arts. Zhou Lai's strength could be considered an extremely strong existence, even in the gods' martial continent. Long Fei was just a virtual immortal stage. He could not resist it all, unable to withstand it. He could not resist it at any other time, but at this moment, it was impossible to say no to this situation, much less defend against it. Roar! The aura on Long Fei's body moved, and with a flip of his right palm, he said, Buddha palm technique. Boom! A huge golden palm, with Buddhist light filling the entire sky, smashed down heavily. Zhou Lai's eyes trembled, but there was not the slightest bit of fear as the strength on his body changed accordingly. Rumble! The aura emitted from his body immediately turned into a real ferocious beast. The ferocious beast soared into the sky and became a force that blotted out the heavens, heavily blocking that palm. Dying! Zhou Lai moved with all his might and locked onto the center of Long Fei's brows with his sword. A killing move. Boy, dangerous! Yin Huang ancestors suddenly shouted. Golden Dragon Master also shouted out loud. Boss, it's dangerous. As voice came out, liar, stop. Peak of the Golden Immortal Realm. A power that could easily crush any elder of the God Emperor Academy and even obtain the inheritance of the Western Devil Lord. His strength was simply too terrifying. Zhou Lai didn't listen at all. He did not care about the treasures of the dragon domain. What he wanted to do now was to take back what was his. He wanted to kill Long Fei. The Buddha palm technique had already been blocked, and the anger in Long Fei's heart began to rise. Motherf asterisk Ker. Super Scion. Open. Rumble. Long Fei's body changed as his golden hair shot into the sky. The aura on his body burned up like flames, and as the devil's sword in his hand fell, his gaze darkened as he locked on a Zhou Lai. Broken sword style. Schwa. The sword slashed out. The black gold sword in Zhou Lai's hand struck. 1,000-layered mystic moon kill. One move was like 1,000 moves. The moment the two swords clashed, the power was ferocious and explosively shot out. Long Fei and Zhou Lai were bounced back at the same time, and in that moment, both of them attacked at the same time. Clang! In the world of fire, there were more than 10 moves per second. The two people kept shooting and clashing. Even Song Qianqian could not see them clearly. Long Fei was extremely shocked in his heart. He was very clear on how strong the Super Scion was, but this guy could actually block it. It was the same in Zhou Lai's heart. A virtual immortal stage actually had such a strong power, and it was completely a power he had never seen before. Was this the power of the Long family? Western Devil Lord's eyes also became cold. Even Long Wuxian back then did not have this kind of power, right? Nearly half a minute. Long Fei and Zhou Lai had already exchanged over 1,000 moves. No one had gained an advantage. Super Scion was indeed strong, but Long Fei's level was relatively low. If it was someone of the same level, Long Fei could easily crush him. However, this was not Long Fei's greatest strength. Zhou Lai gasped as he stared at Long Fei's arrogant expression, his eyes bloodshot. The devil sword in Long Fei's hand moved, and the sword intent of the infinite sword on his body diffused outwards. 10,000 swords returned to the sect. Wong, Wong. The demon's sword became a blur, transforming into 1,000,000 long swords. the sword became a blur, forming a tornado of swords. They slashed down towards Zhou Lai crazily. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk Zhou Lai's 10,000 sword slash also came down. The two great sword techniques interweaved, crazily counteracting each other as they charged forward crazily. Rumble. Crack. The black-gold sword split open. Zhou Lai's face was filled with shock. A strange power flowed out from his body. Break for me. Boom, rumble, rumble, asterisk. The devil sword in the sky let out an ear-piercing hum as it broke right after Long Fei was struck away by a powerful force. The dark golden sword broke as well. Zhou Lai was also knocked back several hundred meters. The blood below his chest was boiling, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned extremely pale. A few Magic Tribe S rushed over. Young Master, Song Qianqian rushed to Long Fei's side, supported Long Fei, and said, Long Fei. Long Fei's vital energy and blood also surged below his chest. All of his internal organs seemed to have been moved, making him feel incomparable discomfort. However, he forcefully held it in and laughed out arrogantly. Come again. Although he didn't gain any advantages, but one had to say, this battle had been a great one. Satisfied. This also made Long Fei realize that the Super Scion was not invincible. The Buddha Palm technique was not impossible to break. This battle had allowed Long Fei to understand his own strength even more. Zhou Lai pushed away all of the Magic Tribe elders with one hand, and the anger in his heart continued to burn crazily as he roared. I must kill you. Boom! He exploded forth with his strength. Long Fei was just as furious. You broke my devil sword, and I, your father's old fire, already started burning. Do you think your father will let you go? Buzz! Long Fei's hands sank, his arms moved, and before Zhou Lai could even get close, he leaped up. In the air, both fists exploded. Lightning force, mountain hit fist. Boom! With a clap of thunder, the combination of a Super Scion and the mountain hit fist formed a strong resonance. The violent diamond apes illusory image on Long Fei's arm turned golden. Break my weapon? Get down! Bang! 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 Zhou Lai raised his eyes. The special energy in his body surged once again. The muscles on his body expanded. The veins on his body popped out, and he stepped on them as he smashed towards Long Fei, who was in the air. Rumble! Crack! Long Fei had the upper hand as he punched Zhou Lai down. While he was sick, he had to take his life. In a split second, Long Fei seized the opportunity. Both of his fists went berserk as he frantically threw punches. Bang, bang, bang. Because of a tiny mistake in strength, Zhou Lai was ruthlessly punched by Long Fei hundreds of times and smashed him onto the ground. Long Fei didn't stop and fiercely smashed his face into Zhou Lai's again. What's so amazing about you, young Devil Lord? So what if your master is a Western Devil Lord? You despise my Long family. Who do you think you are? Do you have the qualifications to despise my Long family? Punch after punch. Incomparable rage, unstoppable. At this moment, the sky suddenly darkened. A powerful aura smashed down. With an angry roar, he shouted fiercely, Long Fei, stop right there! Western Devil Lord of the Western Devil Lord had appeared. The light emitted from his body was not golden, but purplish gold. This was the true super boss. Chapter 877, Boss Against Boss. Chapter 877, Boss Against Boss. With a roar of rage, the aura he exuded was as powerful as the heavens. He poured everything in. Long Fei was instantly crushed to the point that he couldn't move at all. His strength was terrifying to the point that it made one's hair stand on end. Powerful, incomparable strength. However, Long Fei was displeased and bellowed in his heart. Golden Dragon Master. Roar. The Golden Dragon Master didn't care that much as well. The powerful energy of the Golden Dragon Master was directly helping Long Fei to resist the pressure of the Western Devil Lord. Level 6, unparalleled. Crack. 64 times the usual strength. Every muscle in his body tensed up rapidly as if his body was about to burst from the force. Long Fei rolled his eyes, staring at the boss Western Devil Lord that was flickering with purple and gold light in the air, laughed coldly. You said you want to stop, so you stopped? Who the F ** K do you think you are? His fists moved. He threw a punch at Zhou Lai. Defamate my Long family, break my weapon, and fight with me for my woman. Get up, and F * King, fight with me again. Bam! Long Fei smashed his fist down onto Zhou Lai's head. Uff! Zhou Lai spurted out blood. Western Devil Lord's face was filled with shock. He did not expect that Long Fei had not released even the most powerful of energies, nor did he expect that this madman, Long Fei, would actually dare to attack. Why? Western Devil Lord glared at him, and his body fell down heavily. The flames on his body were like 10,000-meter-wide waves in a sea of anger, and they didn't even give Long Fei a chance to react before they directly sent him flying. Rumble! Puff! Long Fei was sent flying as he spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was as thin as a sheet of white paper, and he had no fear at all, but he was extremely excited in his heart. Fuck! Is this the power of the purple gold boss? God damn it, he's too valiant. If we kill him, he should be able to expose the existence of super artifact, right? I wonder if this fellow is the infernal king of the 18th level of hell. If that's the case, Long Fei excitedly swallowed his saliva. Gudong, then we really have to go up to the sky. Long Fei was a madman. He didn't care about the danger at all. He only wanted to kill the boss. With a slight movement, she quickly rushed to Long Fei's side and helped him up. Song Qianqian, who was on the city wall, also moved in the air and flew down from the city wall. But as he was flying above Western Devil Lord, Master of Magic Tribe flipped his right hand and slapped him. Pah! Song Qianqian's body sank and directly fell from the sky. He smashed onto the ground and rolled dozens of meters away with blood trickling from the corner of his mouth as he looked at Long Fei, who was not far away, and said, Long Fei, run! Western Devil Lord slowly helped Zhou Lai up. Zhou Lai's face was badly mutilated. Her lips trembled as she said, Master, kill him, help me kill him. He was beaten into this state by Long Fei. Zhou Lai was unhappy. Master Magic Tribe was even more unhappy. To want to control a madman like Long Fei, it was practically impossible. Master of Magic Tribe's aura surged. Buzz! Long Fei was overwhelmed with shock. Even the killing thought was shrinking, being crushed like this by this strong, killing intent. Immediately, Long Fei ignored the severe pain in his body, rushed to Song Qianqian's front and helped her up, then said to Ling Long, take care of her. With that, Long Fei's eyes lit up, the idea linked with the Xianbao spirit stones. As long as Western Devil Lord made a move, he would immediately release 1 million power of Celestial S to use the turn Yin Long into God. This was his strongest move. He would never use it unless it was absolutely necessary. Long Fei's actions just now had reached the bottom line of the Western Devil Lord. Since such a madman like him could not control him, it would be better to destroy him. After handing Zhou Lai over to the Sea Demon, the Western Devil Lord's eyes darkened. He stared at Long Fei and said, the people in the Long family have always been crazy. Today, I'll see how crazy a lowly ant like Long family you are. Boom! The atmosphere suddenly changed. Demonic flames soared to the sky. The sky above the demon city was covered by the demonic flames, making it extremely terrifying. Long Fei's heart was trembling. The Azure Dragon, Sea Dragon, and Gold Dragon started to worry, but other than the Golden Dragon Master protecting Long Fei's entire body, they didn't take action. Powerful. Powerful to the point of exploding on the surface. Long Fei was excited in his heart. He did not know if the turn Yin Long into God was his opponent or not. But now, he had to do it even if he had to. It was impossible to not go. Western Devil Lord also slowly walked over and stared coldly at Long Fei. I gave you a chance to live. Now I won't give you a second chance. Burn with devil fire. Boom! The devilish flames in the sky suddenly ignited, turning into a raging inferno. It looked as if the sky was burning, and the powerful pressure was growing stronger and stronger by the moment. Even the Golden Dragon Master found it a bit hard to endure. Huff! At this moment, Yin Huang Ancestor let out a light breath and said, "It's time for me to take action." He hadn't moved in a long time. During this time, he had not fought at all, and at this time, he knew that Long Fei could not hold on any longer. He had to take action. However, just as the demonic flame was burning, a golden light flashed from the eastern sky. It came down like a meteor. Boom! Wherever the meteor passed, the flames would disappear, forming a long crack. Following that, a human figure would appear beside Long Fei. Palace Question of God, Supreme God. The force from his body exploded out, forming a shockwave that directly shattered the pressure from the shockwave. It was so powerful that it was a complete mess. The corner of Supreme God's mouth curled up slightly. He looked at Western Devil Lord and smiled faintly, saying, "Master of Magic Tribe, how have you been?" Two of the three bosses had appeared. Long Fei withdrew all the strength he had on his body and thought to himself, if they start fighting, the two of you should hurry up and fight. It's best if both of you are injured at the same time. I've suddenly dropped two super strong bosses. That would be great. The moment Supreme God landed, the devil flames on his body suddenly retracted. He stared at Supreme God and laughed coldly. Palace Question of God, Supreme God. In that instant, their eyes met and their killing intent clashed. Although the two of them retracted their auras, imperceptibly, their powers were frantically fighting, and thunderous roars unceasingly rang out from the nine heavens. This was the battle between powerhouse. Long Fei couldn't even sense the power from their bodies. The Yin Huang Ancestor said slightly, "They are too strong. Even if you use the term Yin Long in a god, they're not your match. They're the people that you are currently unable to fight." Yin Huang Ancestor had once said that none of them were his match. Now, just by comparing the golden light on Supreme God's body with the purple golden light on Master of Magic Tribe's body, Master of Magic Tribe's cultivation was one level higher. The most powerful person in the Palace Question of God was not Supreme God, but rather the Grand Elder, Gu Tongtian. He was Palace Question of God's #1 powerhouse. However, now is the time for the boss to fight the boss. Chapter 878, Open Dragon Domains, Heart Level 2. Chapter 878, Open Dragon Domains, Heart Level 2, A Battle Between Heaven and Earth. What was a battle between heaven and earth? Everything happened in a world invisible to mortals. Many things happened in just a few seconds, but no one knew what happened. At least, Long Fei didn't know. The scene that he wanted to see the most did not appear, and he was a bit depressed. Why didn't they start fighting? This is such a failure. He wanted to take the opportunity to swallow the two bosses, but it seemed impossible now. Supreme God smiled and said, "Master of Magic Tribe, can we leave now?" Western Devil Lord snorted and didn't say anything. Supreme God looked at Long Fei, and a surge of energy held them back as he said faintly, "Let's go." The void moved. In the blink of an eye, Long Fei and the rest landed on the Endless Mountains' teleportation circle. The Supreme God did not stop at all and walked into the teleportation circle. Demon City. Western Devil Lord's face turned scarlet red, and the aura from his body suppressed down. He let out a heavy breath and muttered, "I didn't expect that Palace Question of God, Supreme God was actually an immortal peak realm. Palace Question of God is truly worthy of being called the master of the ears of the gods' martial continent. If it's that old fart Gu Tongtian, I'm afraid that he would have already stepped into the high level of the flying immortal stage, right?" The sea demon stepped forward and asked gently, "Lord Master of Magic Tribe, what happened just now?" He didn't know. At the same time, he couldn't see any Empyrean battles either. Master of Magic Tribe trembled slightly and said, "Send down my order. Watch over Long Fei closely. Once you discover his location, you must stop his powerhouse at all costs." The secret treasure of the dragon domain is the only hope for us to be able to dominate the gods' martial continent. He was very glad right now. It was fortunate that he did not kill Long Fei earlier out of anger. Otherwise, he might have regretted it now. Magic Tribe looked to the east and muttered, "Palace question of God. Let's see who can laugh till the end and who can obtain the dragon domain's secret treasure." And then, Master of Magic Tribe turned around and used a force to lift Zhou Lai up. He said slightly, "Liar, I will reform your body from a new start. I will make you the #1 person in God's martial continent." Zhou Lai said weakly, "Ancestor, I want Song Qianqian. I want her. I must have her. She is my woman." The center of Master of Magic Tribe's brows sunk as he said indifferently, "Powerhouse can obtain whatever he wants, but if you want to obtain everything, then you better become stronger. Become an existence that can crush anyone, including Long Fei." "A mere Song Qianqian?" Master of Magic Tribe laughed coldly in disdain. "Don't worry, she will definitely be your woman." A white light flashed. Because it was from Supreme God, Song Qianqian was also brought back to God Emperor Academy. The moment Supreme God returned to the teleportation circle of the God Emperor Academy, he gave Long Fei a heavy look and immediately revealed a concerned expression. "Don't worry, no one will be able to kill you." Finished. He turned into a ball of light and disappeared into the horizon. The moment he returned to the palace question of God, he could not take it anymore and spat out a mouthful of black blood. His entire body was trembling, and he kept holding it in, afraid that the Master of Magic Tribe would see through him. He couldn't help it now. Every inch of his body was in intense pain. It was also at this time. The moment he landed, Gu Tongtian saw the space between the brows of the heavily injured Supreme God Titan as a strand of energy entered his body. Supreme God said gratefully, "Master." Gu Tongtian said, "Don't talk. First stabilize your injuries, or else your martial arts training will become unstable. You are currently in Immortal Peak Realm. You cannot have the slightest mistake, or else you will never be able to advance another step." He circulated his energy to heal his injuries. After 3 hours, only then did Gu Tongtian slightly retract his strength. The injuries on Supreme God's body were also being controlled, and he immediately said, "Thank you, Master." Gu Tongtian said, "Seems like I underestimated Western Devil Lord." The Supreme God said slightly, "His cultivation should be between the 1st and 3rd stage of the Flying Immortal stage. His cultivation is slightly weaker than yours." Gu Tongtian laughed bitterly. "My cultivation is indeed higher than him, but in terms of lifespan, I am much lower than him. The more war goes on, the faster my lifespan will be consumed. If I am injured, my lifespan will be even less." Lifetime. It was the greatest shackle of all human beings. There was no way to break through. Gu Tongtian was already at his limit. The reason why he had not come out from seclusion for all these years was to avoid any unnecessary battles. So even if he used up a bit of energy, it would affect his lifespan. What he lacked the most now was time. He placed all his hopes on Long Fei. The Supreme God immediately said, "Master, this time Long Fei has obtained a dragon body tomb and is entering his body from the sea. I believe that the time for his open dragon domain is not far away." Gu Tongtian's eyes became excited. That's good. That's good. Right now, the god's martial continent is only missing the power of the dragon tail. He hasn't fused it yet. Supreme God immediately said, "Rest assured, Master, I will definitely get someone to find the location of the dragon tail tomb as soon as possible. I will definitely do my best to let Long Fei assimilate this power as soon as possible." Gu Tongtian laughed with satisfaction. "You don't have to be too anxious either. Even though my lifespan is about to run out, there are still a few more years left. You have experienced the strength of the Western Devil Lord. You must also make your preparations earlier. Let's start with the Academy's tournament." Supreme God immediately replied, "Yes, sir." Western Devil Lord stared at Long Fei. Palace Question of God was also secretly staring at Long Fei. They knew everything that had happened around Long Fei like the back of their hands. They all wanted to obtain the Dragon Domain's secret treasure. Maybe this was their chance to change their fates. At this moment, after Long Fei finished handing in his mission of Nether King's Sea God's blood and successfully registered for the alchemy competition, he brought the weakened Song Qianqian back to logistics department. Song Qianqian was resting. Long Fei let out a light breath and took out the Dragon Domain's heart. The first step had already been opened. He needed the Sea Dragon King's essence blood to open the second step. Long Fei secretly tensed up and said, "It's time for the second level of the open Dragon Domain's heart." The people of the Palace Question of God are looking for the Dragon Domain, and the Western Magic Tribe is also looking for them. What exactly are the secret treasures of the Dragon Domain? Or is it a secret art of eternal life? Long Fei was a little excited as he took out the Sea Dragon King's essence blood and dripped it onto the Dragon Domain's heart. Next, after the Dragon Domain's heart absorbed all of the Sea Dragon King's blood essence, it released the sound of gears turning. A series of mechanical-like sounds came out, and Long Fei also became slightly excited. Opening the first layer of the Dragon Domain's heart, Long Fei obtained the heaven-opposing cultivation technique, turn Yin Long into God. Then, what would he get from opening the second layer? This was like opening a chest in a game, and it was opening an ultimate treasure chest. Long Fei's heart became more and more nervous. Just what is it? And what are the good things? A long half a minute passed. The heart of the Dragon Domain suddenly stopped moving. The system beeped. Ding! Chapter 879, Long Fei Fury. Chapter 879, Long Fei Fury. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for opening the second layer of Heart of Dragon Domain. You have received 10,000 experience points, 1,000 power of celestial, 1,000 points, and a special reward of 1,000 points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Heavenly Dragon Transformation Art. Do you wish to cultivate it? Ding! System notification. The third level of the Open Dragon Domain's heart requires the blood essence of the Sky Tyrant Dragon. The system beep sounded continuously. When Long Fei heard the words Heavenly Dragon Transformation Art, his blood started to boil. The second move of the God Transforming Technique. Cultivate. Cultivate immediately. How can you not? If the turn Yin Long into God was able to instantly kill the Transu Emperor, then the Heavenly Dragon Transformation Art on the second floor would be even more powerful. Just from a name alone, Tian Long was much more powerful than Yin Long cultivation method. Heavenly Dragon Transformation Art grade. Consumption. 1. 5 million power of Celestial S description. Transformed into a Celestial Dragon. Looked at the power of Celestial that was being exhausted, and his heart secretly tightened. As expected, the greater the consumption, the stronger the attack. This was a law that would never change. Heavenly Dragon Transformation Art. Long Fei was incomparably excited. What's on the third floor? Sky Tyrant Dragon Blood Essence? What kind of dragon is this? Long Fei had never heard of such a T-Rex. However, his grandfather who transformed into a dragon was a tyrannosaur, but it wasn't a Sky Tyrant Dragon. Could it be that it still hadn't reached the peak of its level yet? Will grandfather's blood essence be the password to open the third level of the Dragon Domain's heart? Long Fei muttered in his heart and thought to himself, after this year's academy tournament is over, I'll find some time to return to the Nantian region. I have to go back for a while. Long Fei always had a bad premonition in his heart. He always felt that something had happened in the Nantian region. Lang Qinli had been sent out for a long time, but he still had not returned. He was a shadow soldier. Unless he was a super powerhouse, otherwise, no one would discover him. Something must have happened. Lang Qinli would not be sentenced to death. Grandfather, Jojo, Leopard Girl, Luo, she. Just you wait, I will definitely rush back as soon as possible. Long Fei secretly made his decision in his heart. He would make a trip to the Nantian region after the academy competition this time, and he had to investigate this matter thoroughly. Otherwise, he would not be able to cultivate in peace. At this moment, Sun Datu supported Fan Tong into the logistics department and said angrily, "Isn't that too much of a bully? Just an official disciple." What's so great about that? Fan Tong was beaten black and blue. Not just him. Sun Datu, the army, and the other service disciples all had some injuries. During this period of time, every time they released their chi, they would be attacked and punched. He didn't take them seriously at all. Long Fei heard the sound and immediately walked out of the room. Seeing the injuries on Sun Datu and the rest, he became furious and walked forward. "Who hit you guys?" Sun Datu did not know that Long Fei had returned. Seeing Long Fei, who had suddenly charged out, he immediately shook his head and said, "No one. We ourselves do not have the heart to fall into such a state." "What did it fall on?" Dajuan said angrily. "We were beaten up by them, the disciples of the College of Martial Arts Training. Each and every one of them arrogantly acted like they were 250. What's so special about that?" The Sun Datu gave the army a meaningful glance, signaling them to stay silent. Great Army said, "Leader's son, since Long Fei is back, there is nothing much to hide from him. Young Master Long, after you leave, we are bullied by the people of 18 great matrial halls almost every day. Look at how badly Fan Tong has been beaten up. Young Master Long, my great army requests nothing else. I only beg of you, for one thing, you must trample all over the 18 great matrial halls in the academy competition and avenge us brothers." The Great Army said fiercely. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. 18 great matrial halls. After Long Fei went to the Endless Mountains, Green Dragon Matrial Hall and the White Tiger Kung Fu tribe took the lead. The 18 great matrial halls responded, and a few new disciples specifically gave them a sandbag in front of the people of Sun Datu. He didn't take them seriously at all. It was because Long Fei had desecrated the goddess in their hearts. Oya! If they couldn't find Long Fei, they would find a person beside Long Fei to vent their anger. Without waiting for Long Fei to rush out to the logistics department to grab Long Fei, he said, "Long Fei, we are fine. Even if we're beaten up, they would not dare to do anything to us. You can't be rash now. There's only a month's time until the Academy's competition. You can't waste it on us. If you want to take revenge for us, just do, as the army says, defeat all of the 18 great matrial halls S." The Sun Datu was forever thinking for Long Fei. There was only 1 month of time, and it was urgent. Long Fei could not waste even a little bit of time. Long Fei looked at the Sun Datu, looked at his many brothers, and said, "I, Long Fei, have never taken revenge overnight. I didn't know in the past, but now that I'm here, I must seek justice for all of you." Long Fei could not tolerate his brothers being beaten up. He absolutely could not tolerate it. The 18 great matrial halls is amazing, right? High and mighty, right? Then let's see how great he is and how high he is. Just treat it as a warm-up before the Academy tournament. And then, Long Fei said, "Who hit Fan Tong today? That College of Martial Arts Training?" At this time, the Great Army also realized that Long Fei was really angry and said, "Young Master Long, why don't we endure for a while?" Fan Tong also said weakly, "Young Master Long, I'm fine. I'll be fine after a few days of rest." No way. Long Fei could not tolerate it anymore. Last time, when the disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall S attacked the logistics department, he endured. As a result, the people from the Green Dragon Matrial Hall chased him all the way to the Endless Mountains. In the end, during this 1 month, his brother was bullied and beaten every day. Endure was not an option. Since he couldn't take it anymore, he might as well beat him up. Long Fei shouted, "Speak!" The Great Army clenched their fists and threw caution to the wind, saying, "A disciple of the Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training." The Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training, right? All right, then let's start with Sky College of Martial Arts Training. Long Fei took a big step forward as his anger surged. "This old man shall see how amazing all of you are." In another place, Green Dragon Matrial Hall, Ouyang, Jian's courtyard. "What did you say?" Long Fei is back. What about Tujan? A disciple replied. No, I don't think. Ouyang Jian's eyes turned sinister. His gaze became cold, and he said fiercely, useless trash, unable to accomplish anything. Long Fei, it's good that you're still alive. I'll trample you under my feet in front of Aoya. The anger in Ouyang Jian's heart raged. During this period of time, Oya did not even glance at him. This made him hate Long Fei to the bones. At this moment, Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training. Ha ha! Servant disciples are just service disciples. They're all trash and can't even withstand 3 of my punches, ha ha. The 2 disciples said with a smile. Suddenly, the entrance of the Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training was directly kicked away by a powerful force. All of you get the F***CK out here. Chapter 880, Challenge 18 Generations of College of Martial Arts Training. Chapter 880, Challenge 18 Generations of College of Martial Arts Training. A loud sound echoed out. The entire College of Martial Arts Training was shocked. They looked at Long Fei, who was at the entrance of the courtyard. His brain was rather short. After that, a large group of disciples ran up to him. Who the F***K are you? You dare to behave so atrociously in the Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training. I'll see if you're tired of living. Are you looking to die? All of them were extremely arrogant and looked down at Long Fei. At this time, a dozen or so Sun Data disciples caught up to him. Seeing that the big door of the Sky College of Martial Arts Training was kicked away, their expressions changed as they thought to themselves, this is it. Seeing that the Sun Datu and the rest had appeared, a few disciples of the Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training began to laugh disdainfully. Isn't that the service disciple who is rolling on the ground in pain? Why, you call for helpers? Ha ha. The helper you trash called over is also trash, right? Not waiting for him to finish. Long Fei's figure blurred and landed in front of the disciple who spoke. The speed was so fast that the disciple didn't even have time to react. He stuttered and said, You, what are you trying to do? Long Fei grabbed his collar and raised him into the air, using all his strength in his right arm, and smashed him hard onto the ground. Boom! With a loud sound, the ground split open and blood gushed out from the disciple's mouth. He was in so much pain that he couldn't even scream. With this one move, it stunned everyone around him. Incomparable savagery. None of them dared to say a word as they looked at Long Fei. Following that, Long Fei looked at Fan Tong and asked, Who beat you up just now? Don't be afraid. You are my brothers. When the sky falls, I will support you. Long Fei's voice was filled with rage. Fan Tong walked forward, pointed at a person who was trembling in the crowd, and said, Him, and him. Long Fei said straightforwardly, Just now, how they beat you all up will now be how they fight back. Remember, there's no way to tolerate it. If they can't endure it, then we'll just kill them. Since things had come to this point, there was no other way to save them. He would do his best to release them. The Sun Data took a step forward and immediately grabbed a disciple of the Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training and said, It's not that we're weak. It's because we don't want to be like you. Pa! Yi Zichen slapped him. Dajun also rushed forward and gave them a kick. Just now, I didn't fight back at all. Do you think you guys are very strong? Do you think you are above all else? More than 10 service disciples started to fight back. Those disciples of the Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training did not dare to retaliate. They were all new disciples and had their mental defenses destroyed with just one move from Long Fei. They just stood there, not daring to move. At this moment, an elder hurriedly walked out with a few senior disciples behind him. The elder suddenly shouted, Who is the one who is acting so atrociously in the Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training? The Sun Datu and the others withdrew slightly, and Long Fei said, Don't stop. I'll support all of you if the sky collapses. Finished. Long Fei took a step forward and said, It's this father. The 2 senior disciples behind that elder were enraged. Brat, you're courting death. Boom, boom. The auras of the 2 of them burst out as their figures continued to alternate, Their speed was extremely fast, and the power in their fists could be heard from within the roars of tigers. It's Chunda, Chun Air, and the two senior brother. This kid is dead for sure. How dare he act so arrogantly in the Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training? He's done for. Just you wait. He's going to lie on the ground and become a dead dog. I want him to cripple all of these service disciples. A burst of contemptuous voices sounded out from the crowd. Chunda and Chun Air's cultivations weren't weak. The key point was that the two of them practiced a combination cultivation technique that complemented each other. Their attack power was extremely thick. They were quite famous in the Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training. The elder also laughed complacently. How dare a lowly service disciple come to my College of Martial Arts Training to be so arrogant? You overestimate yourself. Not waiting for him to finish. Papa. Longface stood where he was and slapped him twice. The two figures fell to the ground. Lying on the ground like a dead dog, he was completely motionless and had been knocked unconscious by Long Fei in the blink of an eye. The entire Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training instantly quieted down. The silence sent chills down everyone's spines. His mind was sluggish, and he could not react in time. Some people even had a disdainful sneer on their faces, and their expressions twisted along with it. Their faces were extremely unsightly. If not for the fact that they saw Chunda and Chun Air on the ground, they would have thought that all of this was an illusion and that it was impossible. Long Fei clapped twice and said, "Are you looking down on this service disciple? What do you College of Martial Arts Training have to be arrogant for? What qualifications do you have to be so arrogant?" It was clearly him who was being arrogant. The elder's expression was extremely ugly. He stared at Long Fei and asked, "Brat, who exactly are you?" Long Fei stared at the elder and said, "As an elder, you don't even know how to discipline this disciple. What qualifications do you have to become an elder? What qualifications do you have to teach others?" The elder was angered as well. "I don't have the right for you to teach me a lesson." Suddenly, the elder glared at Zhang Xian, and a powerful aura emanated from his body. However, before his aura pressure could crush everything, it was heavily pushed back by Long Fei's aura pressure. Long Fei's footsteps moved. He took a step forward, and before that elder could rush over, he landed right in front of him. "Since you don't know how to make people respect you, then you're not worthy to be that elder." Boom! A punch from him sent that elder flying. His chest felt like it was about to split open. A mouthful of blood sprayed out. If not for Long Fei deliberately controlling his strength, he would have been killed instantly. Long Fei swept his gaze across. Who else? What right do you have to be so high and mighty? Damn it. I'm only asking one question. Who else can't accept it? Long Fei roared thunderously, ruthlessly crushing the entire Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training. Those disciples of the Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training trembled when they heard the aura from Long Fei's body. Sun Data was also extremely shocked. In this 1 month, Long Fei has become strong again. The Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training was smashed to the ground. Next, Long Fei faintly shouted, "Next College of Martial Arts Training." Heavenly College of Martial Arts Training. Long Fei fell to the ground. Actually, not all of them were here because it was an extraordinary period. The geniuses and senior disciples of Sky College of Martial Arts Training were cultivating behind closed doors, preparing for the academy competition. Many people did not care. However, within a short hour, 5 consecutive College of Martial Arts Training were ruthlessly crushed by Long Fei. God Emperor Academy began to stir. 18 great matrial halls come one by one. I want to see just how strong you are. Long Fei's anger had not dissipated yet, as he continued to challenge his opponents, one by one. He wanted the entire God Emperor Academy to know that they were his brothers. Not to mention one person. Even if it was the College of Martial Arts Training, he would still dare to beat up his brother. At this moment, law enforcement agency was in an uproar. A dozen or so elders requested for the law to be enforced and for Long Fei to be suppressed. Except here, there was still one more place, Green Dragon Matrial Hall. The corner of Ouyang Jian's mouth revealed a cold smile. You dog, I was just worried about not being able to find an opportunity. You're the one who's going to die this time. See how I'll ruthlessly humiliate you in front of Aoya. Go to College of War Martial Arts. Brat, just wait for your death. Chapter 881, Challenge College of War Martial Arts. Chapter 881, Challenge College of War Martial Arts. They're here, they're here, they're here. The people from Logistics Department are here. Even College of Martial Arts Training Yen, one of the 18 great matrial halls, whose power was lower than the average. The old and distant entrance of College of Martial Arts Training was already filled with people. All of them were the disciples of College of Martial Arts Training Lianyan, and there was no lack of high-ranking disciples among them. Seeing Long Fei rushing over with the Logistics Department disciples aggressively, their faces were filled with panic. Within an hour, they had consecutively defeated 5 great College of Martial Arts Training, and were the 6th. An elder shouted, "Great elder, even the headmaster is not here. We must crush this arrogant fellow. Do you understand?" All of the disciples were shocked. Understood. Long Fei walked up and swept his gaze across them, then asked directly, "Which one of you touched them? Find out for yourself how you beat them up. How do you expect them to call them back today? Nothing will happen." Long Fei's tone was very calm. One of the senior disciples snorted and said, "Brat, don't be too arrogant. Who are they? Servant disciples are destined to be bullied by others. If you have the ability, then you can make them official disciples. Senior brother is right. If you have the ability, make them become official disciples. Can you do it? This is the God Emperor Academy. No matter how arrogant you are, you still have to look at this place." The group of people clamored loudly. Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he laughed coldly. "You're capable, aren't you? If you have the ability, stop me from flipping through your College of Martial Arts Training Lianyan." Huh. Suddenly, Long Fei made his move. Both fists moved. The power that could shake the mountain burst out. With a step forward, he unleashed a heavy punch, sending a disciple flying. "Do you have the ability to stop me?" Boom. Another punch sent another disciple flying. Boom. Another punch sent another disciple flying. In just a few seconds, all 8 disciples were blasted flying. The most arrogant senior brother could do nothing but stand there blankly. He couldn't even understand what was going on. Long Fei disdainfully said, "Do you have the ability?" The senior brother's face turned pale, and his body trembled. He couldn't say a single word, and he didn't dare to even move a bit, as he was completely suppressed by Long Fei. That elder was angered and shouted, "Brat, you are too arrogant. How dare you? Why do I feel like I'm not arrogant enough?" Long Fei sneered. Seeing that the elder's sword was approaching him, Long Fei's right hand moved. The dragon's salure descended. Kill! Crack! The long sword was cut off. The dragon salure's back swept out. Die! Bam! Long Fei took the chance and leaped up, landing beside him, and said coldly, "You are human. They're also human. People should learn to respect each other. Today, I'm only giving you guys a lesson. Getting too cocky, getting pissed off, I will kill you." His gaze turned cold. The killing thought surged, continuously releasing killing intent. It wanted Long Fei to kill it and control Long Fei. Long Fei was not moved. He was a human, not a killing machine. He would not be controlled by the power of his fusion. What he trained in was the path of death, not the slaughter of the innocent. 2 sinister eyes stared at the elder. "Do you understand?" The elder was smashed onto the ground. His complexion turned pale. He was feeling extremely displeased in his heart. However, he was unable to retaliate at all. Seeing that he did not say anything, Long Fei glared. The spirit chi on the dragon's salure burst forth with his anger and roared, "I ask, do you understand?" The elder was scared to the point that he almost peed his pants. Understood, understood, understood. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he laughed. "It's good that you understand." And then, he walked in front of the senior brother and swept his eyes over him coldly. "Ability? Now do you know what it means to be capable?" Long Fei shouted, "Go next." After Long Fei disappeared, the senior brother suddenly collapsed. He was powerless for a long time and could not stand up. The same was true for the elder. However, you dare to be so rampant in God Emperor Academy? Brat, just you wait. Wait for law enforcement agency to tear you into 1,000 pieces. And then, he quickly rushed to the law enforcement agency. Outside, 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 outside. The 6th Great College of Martial Arts Training, College of Martial Arts Training Lianyun has been crushed. The strong rise of the disciples of the logistics department. In just a short span of 1 hour, the entire God Emperor Academy was shaken up. In the Academy's wind and cloud rankings, the matter of Long Fei challenging the 18 great matrial halls immediately skyrocketed to first place. Countless disciples followed him and watched the show. In another college of martial arts training, what'd I do to them? What's wrong with hitting lowly service disciples like them? Bam! Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei directly punched out with explosive power and heavily knocked him unconscious on the ground. Long Fei said in disdain, "Not much, just 10 times promised." Hit him. Half an hour later, all 8 College of Martial Arts Training S were crushed. Long Fei is raging. The service disciples that the 18 generations of College of Martial Arts Training had despised are now trembling with fear. Countless elders of the College of Martial Arts Training have already squeezed out and blown the floor. Who else? Who else can stop Long Fei's footsteps? More and more people followed behind Long Fei to watch the show. Every time Long Fei attacked, it would cause a lot of cheers because the moves he used were different. When you use a weapon, he also uses a weapon. In addition, your weapon will only be cut by him. You have 2 fists. He also has 2 fists. Before you can reach him, you will be blown away. An invincible posture crushed everything in its path, turning everything into a mess. 9th College of Martial Arts Training. 10th College of Martial Arts Training. Long Fei swept his gaze across almost all of them. College of War Martial Arts. Ouyang Jian brought a few disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall over. The disciples of the College of War Martial Arts had a backbone in just an instant, and they were extremely grateful to Ouyang Jian in their hearts. Aoya's eyes were still as cold as before. Ouyang Jian looked at Aoya and said, "Don't worry, junior sister Aoya. I will definitely block Long Fei for you. I will definitely make him kneel in front of you, in front of all the College of War Martial Arts disciples." Oya did not speak. In this period of time, she had been desperately cultivating, but he was still unable to achieve the Slay realm, which was superimposed by Long Fei. She had been to the logistics department before. However, Long Fei was not there. Ouyang Jian looked at Aoya's cold eyes and hardened his heart. "Long Fei, you bastard. Watch how I'll ruthlessly humiliate you." He was unhappy. He felt very displeased because he had almost taken Oya down and killed such a student. Furthermore, he even made Oya personally acknowledge that she was his woman. This was a great humiliation to him. Ouyang Jian could not tolerate it. If he couldn't endure it any longer, he would kill. In another place, Qiu Wandao's residence. After finding out that Long Fei was challenging the 18 great matrial halls, Qiu Wandao frowned. "Old bastard, you stay here, I'll go take a look. I want to see who dares to bully my young master. I'll kill him." Chapter 882, Oya Attacks. Chapter 882, Oya Attacks. The Battle Array College of Martial Arts Training was overturned. The College of Martial Arts Training was also selected. In just a short 3 hours, besides the 4 great High College of Martial Arts Training, there was only one other College of Martial Arts Training left. College of War Martial Arts. He was also the one who hated Long Fei the most, the College of Martial Arts Training. Aoya was the goddess of their College of Martial Arts Training. They treated themselves as guardians. After all, he was the son of the Green Dragon Agumen. With his strong cultivation and sharp sword skills, he was a match to Aoya. But what did it mean to be sucked away by a toad like Long Fei? They couldn't accept it. Thus, his attacks toward the disciples of the logistics department were the most vicious and they almost beat them to death several times. If they couldn't find Long Fei, they would use the sun Dadu to vent their anger. In the distance, Long Fei brought over 10 service disciples and walked towards the College of War Martial Arts. The two sides of the road were filled with people, and most of them were just here to watch the show. They want to know where Long Fei could go to. The College of War Martial Arts is here. Other than the 4 Great High College of Martial Arts Training there's only one more College of War Martial Arts left. College of War Martial Arts' strength is only second to 4 material halls. Would Long Fei be able to beat them? In my opinion, it's very difficult. The strength of the College of War Martial Arts is not something other College of Martial Arts training can compare to, and there are even many high-ranking elders overseeing it, so Long Fei will definitely lose this time. He'll probably lose very miserably. I just heard that the Azure Dragon Courtyard has sent people over. If it's the Azure Dragon Courtyard's senior brother then Long Fei will lose without a doubt. Last time, when the people of the Green Dragon Material Hall attacked the courtyard of the logistics department, I heard that Long Fei did not even dare fart. Green Dragon Material Hall is God Emperor Academy's #1 college of martial arts training. They are all monstrous geniuses. If they were to make a move, Long Fei would not even have a chance. The crowd whispered. They all wanted to know how long Long Fei could last. Hearing that the people from the Green Dragon Material Hall had come, they immediately understood that the one who would be smashed to the ground later would definitely be him. A disciple of the College of War Martial Arts walked into the College of Martial Arts Training and shouted, "They're here!" The disciples of the College of Martial Arts Training were immediately startled as their eyes revealed fierce glints. Aoya slightly frowned. An unusual light flashed in her eyes. Ouyang Jian squinted. "Dog thing, you're finally here." The door to the College of War Martial Arts opened wide. When Long Fei stepped forward, the Sun Dadu said in a low voice, "Young Master Long, we have already vented all of our anger. I think we should just forget about it." He was worried too. All along the way, they enjoyed an unending amount of glory and completely released all the air that they had squeezed out for the past few years. It had to be said that it was very pleasurable, but they knew clearly in their hearts that all of this was given to them by Long Fei. Without Long Fei, they were nothing. The College of War Martial Arts was different from the other College of Martial Arts training. They were very strong, and if they really had the Green Dragon Material Hall helping, then Long Fei's situation would be very dangerous. They did not want Long Fei to be in danger. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Leader's son, if I don't take College of War Martial Arts down today, how could I, Long Fei, be worthy of what I have said myself? Either you don't do it, or you do it well." Even if he couldn't do it the best, he had to at least make it into a complete set. The College of War Martial Arts must be captured. Moreover, he also wanted to see Aoya again. Most of the year had already passed since this Sword Force King Kong's mission, so Long Fei had to find a way to get rid of him. And then, Long Fei stepped into the College of War Martial Arts. Sun Dadu followed closely behind him, and the rest of the service disciples followed as well. Just when all the disciples of Logistics Department walked in, boom, the door of the College of War Martial Arts slammed shut. "Since you're here, don't even think about leaving while standing," a disciple shouted loudly. The College of War Martial Arts were filled with disciples, all of them staring at Long Fei, as if they had a blood feud with Long Fei. In their hearts, Long Fei had a blood feud with them. The goddess was tainted. The guardians, did not do their duty. This time, they would burst out with all the responsibility they had failed to do. With a clang, the door closed. Other than Long Fei, Leader's son and the rest were all shocked. Seeing the look of fear in the eyes of the Leader's son and the others, one of them started to clamor and said, "Are you afraid now? Isn't your logistics department very arrogant today? Since you dare to come to our College of War Martial Arts, I'll definitely let you have a hard time today." Long Fei slowly walked down from the stairs, coldly laughed, and said, "Don't dilly-dally. It's useless to hoot so loudly." Long Fei swept his gaze across them and asked, "The purpose of my visit today is very simple." Who touched them and stood up? "Me. I move, what happened? I moved too. We're all moving, what's the matter? Brat, do you think that the College of War Martial Arts is some other college of martial arts training, a soft persimmon, a place that a trash from the logistics department like you could be arrogant in? What are they? They sound like a bunch of service disciples, but they sound like a bunch of trash. To say that they are trash is to praise them. They are not even comparable to trash. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei suddenly struck out with a slap. Pa! Yizichin slapped that man down onto the ground, then stepped on him without him standing up. He glared. What do you think you are now? Trash. The trash of the trash. It was also at this time. All of the surrounding College of War Martial Arts disciples rushed over. Long Fei suddenly shouted and exerted strength with his feet. Whoever dares to come up and give it a try. Do you believe I won't kill him? Ah! The disciple under his feet stepped on the ground and cried out in pain. The surrounding disciples were stunned and stopped abruptly. Long Fei bent down and coldly asked, Now, let me ask you, who do you think you are? Speak. Long Fei raged and roared. The disciple glared at Long Fei and said, If you have the guts, then kill me. I want to see if you can leave this place. Yo, you still have some backbone. If that's the case. Long Fei playfully sneered. With a move of his right hand, the dragon salure descended. Black saber, chi continued to gush out of his body. The visual impact of a 103,000-kilogram dragon salure being placed on his neck was enough to make a person collapse. Long Fei smiled slightly. Then why don't you give it to me? I am trash. I'm trash among trash. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. The man's mind collapsed. The pressure the dragon salure gave him was too strong. He couldn't take it at all. Long Fei sneered and said, What did you say? I didn't hear it. That person wailed, I'm a trash. I'm a trash amongst trash. Please spare me. Long Fei hoisted the dragon salure onto his shoulder, looked at the disciples around him whose eyes were spewing fire, and said in an incomparably wild voice, Trash, are you guys fighting one-on-one? Or attack together? Humiliation. It was a severe humiliation. Long Fei was going to return them back to the leader's son after humiliating them 10 times over. At this moment, Aoya walked over. Her gaze tensed up as she stared at Long Fei and said, Long Fei, enough. Chapter 883, Flipping Over. Chapter 883, Flipping Over Affability Level, 999 points. With a cold glint in his eyes, he refused to travel 1,000 miles. At least, Long Fei could not see any hope for completing the mission in her eyes. Since she was unable to complete the mission now, she was not his King Kong general, much less his woman. Since she was not even his woman, why should he give her face? Long Fei liked beauties. He liked super beauties like Oya, who had big boobs and tall butts more. However, he wouldn't be stuck because of beauties, and he wouldn't forget his brother just because of beauties. This was not his character. Long Fei turned his gaze towards Aoya, smiled slightly, and said, Is that enough? Not yet. The disciples of the College of War Martial Arts simply could not accept it. The next time they met Leader's son and the rest, they would still be humiliated and beaten up. Therefore, it was not enough. Aoya's eyebrows tightened. Don't be too presumptuous. This is the College of War Martial Arts. She was angry, very angry. Long Fei could feel it from her words. Aoya had been desperately trying to break through for the past month, but she couldn't. She just couldn't comprehend what was called the superimposed slay. The attack power of the insight into sword method couldn't increase. If he couldn't level up, then what was in front of him was useless. Not to mention the last time, when Long Fei released the blade waltz, she was even more confused. How could she be able to grasp the moves of a sword master just by thinking about it? Long Fei was also displeased. I have always been this unbridled. So what about College of War Martial Arts? Today, I call the College of War Martial Arts. He was giving it his all now. Originally, Long Fei wanted to give the system reward of Revenge Blade to Aoya and see if it could remove the negative affability level, but now, he couldn't care less. Table of contents, Oya was thoroughly infuriated. When the disciples of the martial arts arena saw the girls getting angry, they became even more furious. As if they were on stimulants, they charged towards Xiang Longfei with no regard for their lives. Brat, bully our goddess, prepare to die. I have long disliked him. The last time he bullied our family's Oya goddess, and now he even arrogantly bullied our entire College of War Martial Arts. Today, even if I don't want to, I want to fight with you. Don't waste time with him. Attack together. It's fine to bully anyone, but not to bully Goddess Oya. Lame duck, who gave you the courage to speak to our goddess like that? Beat him to death. The disciples of the College of War Martial Arts roared. Over 100 disciples quickly closed in on Long Fei, surrounding him, all of them wishing for nothing more than to eat and drink his flesh. Long Fei was not afraid, but laughed coldly. Seems like you guys have chosen to fight one-on-one, huh? What duel? We're going to kill you today. Brat, let's see how strong you are and how much you can fight. We're not going to fight with you. We're going to play with too many people. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, That's right. I'm the one who should challenge your entire College of War Martial Arts. Too arrogant. One of the disciples could not hold it in and shouted, I can't hold it in. Arrogant. Long Fei was truly arrogant. Even when surrounded by hundreds of disciples, he was still incomparably arrogant. And, at this time, he was probably the only one who could be so. A disciple suddenly rushed forward, causing Long Fei's eyes to turn sinister, his fists moving, pa-pa. With a strong gust of wind, a punch was thrown out, and that disciple was blasted away. In just an instant, all of the surrounding disciples rushed up to him. In an instant, they had completely surrounded Long Fei in the middle. Bang, bang, bang. Long Fei's fists were like lightning, retaliating crazily. Sun Data roared out, Let's go up as well. More than 10 service disciples rushed out with their eyes closed. Their cultivations were simply too lacking compared to the disciples of College of War Martial Arts. Before they could even get close to Long Fei, they were sent flying. The disciples of the College of War Martial Arts were too lazy to chase after them and could only wildly beat him up. Arrogant. I'm telling you to be arrogant. Let's see how long you can remain so arrogant for. Brat, you're so awesome. Over 100 of them. Their battle prowess was extremely dense. Long Fei could not even use his 4 limbs and thought to himself, Damn, these people are even crazier than me. The goddess charisma is truly not simple. However, the aura on Long Fei's body stirred, and he roared out angrily in his heart. 6th level unparalleled. Open. There was a loud sound from within his body, and 64 times the elemental energy burst forth. In that instant, his aura turned into a powerful shockwave. Get the hell away from me. Rumble. With a loud sound, the power of a virtual immortals of the 8th stage burst out. The shockwave rippled out, causing all of the surrounding College of War Martial Arts disciples to retreat backwards. It's your father's turn to take action. Long Fei pushed them away, maintaining a certain distance, and instantly attacked Divine Awakened Fist. Bang, bang, bang. Long Fei flew out violently all the way. His fists were unruly, and after a series of random assaults, College of War Martial Arts screamed miserably, and countless of people were sent flying. There were people hanging on the roofs and trees. They were all blown away by Long Fei. Come on. There are so many people, isn't it? Come on. Quickly, with 100 hits, it was a crazy, violent strike. The cultivation of most of these first-grade College of War Martial Arts' new students were at the elementary stage of the Madman Immortal Realm, and they were not a match for Long Fei, who was at the 8th stage of the Virtual Immortals. Long Fei would never give them the chance to crawl back up again. With a punch, he fainted. In just a few minutes, the only thing that remained of College of War Martial Arts was the disciples whose bodies were curled up like shrimps and crying out in pain. What Goddess Guardian team? He turned into a dead dog squadron. Long Fei looked at them and said, If you dare to touch my brothers again in the future, you won't end up like this. Finished. Long Fei glared fiercely at Aoya and said, As an elder of the College of War Martial Arts, you should properly discipline these students of yours. Humph! A ball of fury was pressing down from the bottom of Long Fei's heart. He turned around and looked at Sun Datu and said, "Let's go to the next one." Aoya clenched her fists tightly. She stared at the sword in Long Fei's hand and started to tremble. The sword intent around her body ignited and caused a buzzing sound. It was extremely intense. The surrounding weapons were the same. Suddenly, Aoya's eyes turned vicious. The sword intent around her body exploded. Her thin long sword flew out, and she shouted, "My student is not yet your turn to teach him a lesson." Chua! The sword stabbed out. Long Fei's brows tightened and said to the Sun Datu, "You guys move to the side first." He picked up a tree branch on the ground and turned around slightly. A sword stabbed towards Aoya, and Long Fei grinned. "Seems like you're but didn't hurt enough last time." As soon as he finished, the infinite sword on Long Fei's body suddenly soared. The branches moved. "I'll let you experience what a grand duelist is." Chua. Chapter 884, Overbearing Kiss. Chapter 884, Overbearing Kiss. Schwa. Long Fei moved. The ethereal footwork beneath his feet became different. The ethereal footwork was erratic. It's hard to see where he's going next. However, this was not its true strength. Long Fei released the ethereal footwork, and his body started to sway left and right frantically. Not only was he unable to see his movements, he was also unable to see his moves. The disciples who screamed knew that Aoya cultivated the ethereal footwork, but her ethereal footwork was far weaker than Long Fei's. He also knows ethereal footwork. What is his background? Even the teacher Oya didn't have a completely proficient ethereal footwork, yet he's actually able to use it so skillfully. Who exactly is this guy? The disciples felt their hearts sink. At the same time, he shouted loudly, "Teacher Oya, go for it, defeat him. Go, Teacher Oya." Amongst these people, Ouyang Jian, who had not fought all this time, had an ugly expression on his face. He knew better than anyone how difficult it was to control the ethereal footwork. He had also tried to cultivate it before. But, no, I can't grasp that kind of unpredictable essence. But Long Fei's steps are very terrifying. It is even stronger than Aoya, who has cultivated for more than 10 years. Ouyang Jian's forehead turned sinister. In a short span of 1 month, he has become stronger. 1 month ago, he was only an arrogant immortal state, but now, for him to already be at the 8th stage of the virtual immortals, that is just too terrifying. Shock was shock. However, Aoya Ju-Di would not show mercy. Moreover, this time, she did not suppress her cultivation. With her blood immortal cultivation released, the attack on the sword became stronger. "Look carefully," Long Fei suddenly shouted in his heart. "Illusion immortal root, open." Buzz! His body suddenly split into two. This wasn't a clone, but an illusion. Ding! Illusion techniques have been successfully released. Also at this moment, Long Fei became even more unsteady. His figure turned around and landed behind Aoya. The branch in his hand pointed towards her little fart, and fiercely Pia was struck down. "Let's talk about your battle chi with me." Ah! A branch mark appeared on Aoya's buttocks. Her body bounced up abruptly in pain. Her long sword also pierced out, stabbing into the air. It was also at this time that she woke up from Long Fei's illusion. Looking at Long Fei behind her, she was incomparably furious. Schwa! His body swayed, and his feet moved. Once again, he revealed himself behind Oya and whipped another branch. "You still dare to be cocky?" Pia, another explosive sound. It was another imprint, and his ass was about to bloom. The pain was so painful that Aoya was almost unable to endure it. She was so angry that smoke rose from her head and her entire body trembled. The more she trembled, the more her breasts trembled. After 2 consecutive moves, Aoya was unable to block them. However, she had a lot of battle experience, so she quickly retreated back from Long Fei's battle range. Staring at the furious Long Fei, she was a little confused. If it was clearly her that was angry, then what was Long Fei angry for? Long Fei pointed to the tree branch in his hand and said, "Isn't it just peeping at you bathing? Didn't he just say something excessive? Didn't I just hit your butt? What's the matter? Huh? You want to run away from a woman that I, Long Fei, have set my eyes on? Let me tell you, not only are you some Academy's goddess, even if you were a goddess from the heavens, I, Long Fei, will take you down as well. There's more. I will take revenge for you." Long Fei said angrily. The more he fought, the angrier he got. It had been such a long time since he had taken Aoya down, and he was really unhappy. If they still had to stop him today, then Long Fei would be even more unhappy. Oya was stunned. It was her first time seeing such a tyrannical person. Long Fei was truly tyrannical. Aoya could not bear it either, especially what Long Fei had said. As long as it was a woman he liked, he would also take down the goddess of heaven. Looking at Aoya, who was in a daze, Long Fei continued, "Don't you just want to improve the insight into sword method? Didn't you want to surpass your father in the path of the sword and then take revenge for him? I'll teach you. Others can't give it to you, but I can. Other than me, there is no one else in this world who can give you what you want." Tyrant. Madness. It was to crush the line of defense in Oya's heart. Some women were like this, lacking in discipline. At the same time, she was also furious. Looking at Long Fei, she thrusted out her sword once again. I'm F** king screwed. When Long Fei saw that Aoya had rushed forward again, he also went all out. It looks like I have to be a little more overbearing. He didn't clean up enough just now. Aoya was a sword force King Kong, so this kind of woman was much stronger than normal women. He watched as Oya's long sword struck out. The branch on Long Fei's finger flashed with a light as he focused his attention on it. Alpha Assault. Shwa. The instant Aoya unleashed her sword, Long Fei's figure disappeared. Thinking back to the 2 times he had been hit on the butt, and how his heart had been clouded by the attacks, he decided to look behind him after his sword had missed. The instant she looked behind her, Long Fei suddenly threw away the branches, grabbed Aoya's head, and heavily kissed her. Ugh! Aoya's eyes bulged out. With a single glare, she became stupefied and her lips tightened. However, Long Fei's right hand suddenly loosened and grabbed toward her chest. When his mouth opened, Long Fei's tongue immediately stuck out and forcefully kissed him. Aoya was completely unable to withstand this kind of attack. He continued to block nonstop. However, it was completely useless. In just a few short seconds, her body couldn't use any power at all. Long Fei was really too powerful in this regard. That was a must. Although she hadn't practiced it too often in her previous life, she had not watched those national action movies for nothing and had even attacked them when they were free. Oya was a mature woman, but she didn't understand this aspect at all. Coupled with her current physical needs, she was on the verge of collapse. However, all the disciples of the College of War Martial Arts were dumbstruck. Wow, too overbearing. This is the scene of my dream. I'm starting to admire him a little now. I've already worshipped him. All of their eyes shone with excitement, as if they were forcefully kissing a goddess. They were the same. It required a domineering method to subdue it. They were all excited, but there was a person smoking above their heads. Their anger was burning, and their blood was churning under their chests. They were already on the verge of being unable to endure it any longer. Ouyang Jian. His eyes were spitting fire, and his killing intent enveloped the entire College of War Martial Arts. Seeing Long Fei forcefully kiss Aoya, it was as if his heart had been torn apart. A furious roar. Ouyang Jian's entire being erupted. Also because of his angry roar, Aoya suddenly woke up. She glared at Long Fei as she gritted her teeth. Holy **T. Who wants to be humiliated? Who wants to be humiliated? Ouyang Jian roared in anger, while Long Fei screamed in pain. Long Fei wanted to forcefully kiss her a few more times, but if he did not let go, his tongue would be snapped by Aoya. And then, Long Fei relaxed, blood hanging from the corner of his mouth. Aoya's body also bounced back instantly. Her lips still had the blood on Long Fei's tongue as she glared at him and bellowed. Long Fei acted like a gangster and said, "What about me? Then I'll kiss you. I'm a tyrant. What about it? If you have the guts, then beat me," Long Fei said in a domineering manner. He stared at Aoya's huffing and puffing manner and laughed. "You look quite cute when you're angry. Better than your stony face." Long Fei wiped off the blood from the corner of his mouth. "So ruthless. Even his tongue was almost bitten off by you. You deserve it." A wave of regret also rose in her heart. He actually couldn't control his body in those few seconds. He was actually a little drunk and in urgent need. Very strange. The Long Fei in front of him was really different from other men. The fastest way to make a woman fall in love with you is to enter her body. Even if she doesn't love you, she'll remember you for the rest of her life. Especially that first woman. At this moment, she hated the abnormal change that had occurred to Long Fei in Aoya's heart, but she also liked that feeling a little in her heart. Long Fei laughed, then said, "It's fine to be bitten by your own woman, but I am not in the academy for my previous mission. I will be in the God Emperor Academy this month. If you want to improve the insight into sword method, I will teach you. In addition, I'll also gift you a weapon that is exclusive to you." Finished. Long Fei unrestrainedly took out the revenge blade and threw it to Aoya, saying, "This sword is better suited for you." Oya took it. After catching the long and thin revenge blade, her entire body froze. She stared at the sword in her hand as her hands trembled. She was excited. Ouyang Jian finally could not hold it in anymore and rushed out to Aoya's side, saying, "Junior sister Aoya, this kind of trashy sword is definitely trash. I got the Immortal Equipment Grandmaster to make you a level 9 immortal sword. It was specially forged for you." While they were talking, Ouyang Jian then took out the sword. He had used up all his possessions to forge this sword with the best materials. He was sure that Aoya would like it. Once this sword appeared, he would be able to instantly seize Aoya. Seeing Long Fei take out a sword that was as thin as a sharp stick, he immediately disdained. "Kid, what good thing can someone with your identity alone take out?" He spoke to Long Fei with disdain. "If you want an identity, you have no status. If you want a position, you have no status. Don't blame me for not reminding you. It's still too late for you to get out of here. Otherwise, I will make your death difficult." Long Fei's mouth hooked up and said, "Since you said your sword is powerful, then let's compete." Ouyang Jian wanted to say this as he coldly laughed in his heart. "You are seeking your own humiliation." Ouyang Jian laughed coldly and said, "Is that sword you took out worthy to compete with me? I'll give you a chance today, seeing as it's on junior sister Aoya's face. This sword is named after Aoya. Aoya. It was created by the immortal Great Grand Artifact Master Huang Tianji using deep-sea mysterious iron. It has been fusing with a 1,000-year ice blood vein. The sword is like ice, and the sword intent is as cold as ice. It was tailor-made for the Aoya junior sister." As soon as he finished, the disciples of College of War Martial Arts were in an uproar. Isn't the great artifact master of the immortal rank the #1 artificer in God Emperor Academy? He seems to also be the honorary principal, whose refining skills have reached the peak realm of the gods' martial continent. The immortal goods in his hands are extremely hard to find. Even if someone offered a price of 10,000 fairy stones, they would not be able to find one. Teacher Ouyang really put in a lot of effort. The materials are of the highest quality. With Master Huang's help, no one will be able to defeat him. This sword is definitely better than Long Fei's sword. Although I admire this guy, the sword that he has given us is definitely not as good as Teacher Ouyang's. If you want to be inferior to Ouyang Jian, his status was inferior to Ouyang Jian. In terms of wealth, he could not compare to Ouyang Jian. One had to know that he was backed by the Green Dragon Matrial Hall. How many students in the academy could compare to Green Dragon Matrial Hall in terms of wealth? Only with a relationship like his could someone forge such an immortal weapon to make a woman happy. Big hand. It was definitely a huge sum of money. Hearing the surrounding discussions, Ouyang Jian laughed complacently and said, "Brat, it's your turn. You're asking to be humiliated. This way, I can first step on you, then slowly take care of you. Everyone looked at Long Fei. Long Fei smiled slightly. This weapon of mine is called vengeance. I really don't know whose hands it comes from, and I don't even know what kind of materials to use to refine it into. As soon as he finished speaking, many of the surrounding disciples laughed out loud. Ouyang Jian said in disdain, "Is that the trash you picked up? You actually have the nerve to gift this trash to junior sister Aoya. Kid, you are insulting junior sister. If you don't have it, you can come beg me. Maybe I'll give you an immortal weapon." Ha ha ha. Once he had the chance, Ouyang Jian would mercilessly trample on Long Fei. Long Fei was definitely amused and said slightly, "I really don't know about that, but I do know one thing, that this revenge is an immortal stage divine equipment. Needless to say more, just the immortal stage divine equipment would be enough to instantly kill everything else." However, as soon as he finished, everyone around him began to laugh. Ouyang Jian was even more so, laughing till he fell backwards and forwards, saying, "Brat, do you think that immortal stage divine equipment is a radish cabbage? How could a person like you have immortal stage divine equipment? You're still giving it away? Why don't you take a piss? Immortal stage divine equipment? I think it's just a piece of junk, right?" The immortal stage divine equipment was simply impossible. Immortal weapons were already something to be proud of, and immortal stage divine equipment were even more so something that was impossible. Even Ouyang Jian didn't have any immortal stage divine equipment. Normal people could not live a immortal stage divine equipment forever. It was even more impossible to use it to give it away. Who would be so stupid? If they knew that Long Fei's immortal stage divine equipment had not been eaten by the Yin Huang ancestor and had already formed a mountain, they would definitely be dumbstruck. To others, immortal stage divine equipment could be very, very precious. However, to Long Fei, that was just the Yin Huang ancestors' food. This revenge was even rewarded by the system. It should be of the upper rank among the immortal stage divine equipment. It was just that Long Fei could not use it and did not know its attributes. At this moment, Aoya, who had been holding onto the revenge blade all this time, looked at Long Fei in excitement. This is indeed an immortal stage divine equipment. It was also at this time. The system sounded out, causing Long Fei to become excited. "Did you take them down already?" Ding! Chapter 886. Long Fei, it's your turn. Chapter 886. Long Fei, it's your turn. The system beep suddenly sounded out, causing Long Fei's heart to tighten. "Are we going to take down the Six King?" Ding! Affability level plus 500. Ding! Affability level plus 500. Two notifications sounded. Long Fei was a little disappointed in his heart, because he didn't directly take down Aoya, but to be able to clear 999 points of affability level was pretty good. After all, he had taken a big step forward. Not all of the things that could restore her affability level to 1 point was because of the revenge blade that Long Fei had gifted her, and of the 500 points, it was because of Long Fei's strong kiss. The other 500 points were due to the name of the revenge blade, Revenge. His two conditions spurred for a reaction, causing his affability level to immediately soar by 1,000 points. Finally, it returned to normal. The moment Aoya finished speaking, immediately, huge waves were set off. Immortal stage divine equipment? Impossible, right? What the Oya goddess said is definitely true. She would not lie. Oh my god, if it really is the immortal stage divine equipment, then that brat must have really invested a lot in chasing girls. That is the immortal stage divine equipment, worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of them. Why don't you give such a holy artifact away? If it were me, I would directly marry him. He's too handsome, so handsome that it's a mess. They might not believe Long Fei's words, but they firmly believed in Aoya's words. Furthermore, Aoya's excited appearance made them even more certain that Long Fei's move was too cool. He just picked up a girl and directly gave it to the immortal stage divine equipment. He had to say it. He had used up all his resources, but he didn't even frown. He didn't take it seriously at all. On the other hand, Ouyang Jian's face turned green, his face paled, and he looked extremely ugly. The sword he specially forged for Ao was not worth a single cent. It was just like a joke. In addition, he had the sword in his hand the entire time, so he wasn't so willing to give it away. This was the difference. Competing in terms of status? Competing on status? Comparing financial resources? He could not compare to Long Fei at all. Just a single immortal stage divine equipment had already caused him to be unable to breathe. What else could he be compared to? However, Ouyang Jian became angry and shouted, "I don't believe that a lowly service disciple like you can take out an immortal stage divine equipment. Junior sister Aoya, you must have made a mistake." Long Fei laughed lightly and said, "Whether or not I saw wrongly, I will know after trying." Ouyang Jian sneered and said, "This is what you said you wanted to try." Finished. Ouyang Jian took out his sword, pointed it at Long Fei, and said, "Come, let's try." Long Fei said to Aoya, "Give me your sword." Oya held out her sword. Long Fei took it and wanted to take a look at the Revenge Blade's attributes, but because it was restricted by its gender, he could not see it. Even though it could not be used, as described by the system, its power could not be activated. Long Fei had just stabilized his sword and had not had the time to prepare. Ouyang Jian then slashed out with his sword that was like a berserk blade. He shouted, "Break for me!" The sword in his hand was made from deep-sea mysterious iron and 1,000-year cold energy. Master Huang once said that this sword was extremely hard and indestructible. An ordinary immortal weapon could be severed with a single slash. Ouyang Jian's face was filled with pride. He thought, "Your sword is about to break. Let me see how you still have the face to call this the immortal grade divine artifact." The sword slashed down. This sword contained a powerful sword intent that crushed down. Very strong. Aoya frowned and shouted worriedly, "Long Fei, be careful." Long Fei did not release his sword intent. He used vengeance to block it. Clang! A crisp sound of metal striking metal rang out, and a powerful force came crushing down. Long Fei's body faintly sank as his arm shook until it went numb. He felt displeased with himself. It was also at this time. Crack! The sound of the sword breaking sounded out. Ouyang Jian laughed excitedly. "Brat, let's see if you dare to say anything more about the immortal stage divine equipment once it is touched by my sword." Before he could say the word break, the sword in his hand started to crack and fall down one by one. In the end, only the hilt of the sword was left in his hand, and the blade of the sword shattered into 17 or 18 pieces. The entire College of War Martial Arts quieted down. Long Fei's mouth turned cold. He stared at Ouyang Jian and said, "Speak, continue speaking. Whose immortal weapon is trash? You actually dare to take out such a trashy weapon and make a fool of yourself? Do you think that Oya is an ordinary girl? She is a goddess, and you want to please her with such trash? What teacher of Green Dragon Matrial Hall? You're nothing more than that." When the opportunity presented itself, Long Fei would retaliate fiercely. Long Fei was just like that. He never kept a low profile when he was high profile. Too cool. A new male god. Holy shit, it's really an immortal stage divine equipment. It's too sharp. Teacher Ouyang has been utterly defeated. Ouyang Jian's expression was extremely ugly as he gritted his teeth and clattered them loudly. His gaze burned with anger as he stared at Long Fei and shouted, "Long Fei, you actually dared to use your hidden strength to break my weapon. If I don't teach you a lesson today, Ouyang Jian, will write backwards." While they were talking, Ouyang Jian took out his own sword and shocked the world with it. Buzz! A sword hum sounded out in the air. All of the sword intents attacked Long Fei from all directions as though they were real and completely surrounded him. Very strong. His sword intent was much higher than the one you cultivated. The number 1 sword cultivator in God Emperor Academy's younger generation. His sword intent was naturally astonishing. Aoya's face darkened. She took a step forward and blocked in front of Long Fei, shouting, "Ouyang Jian, what are you trying to do?" Ouyang Jian said angrily, "I will kill him." The sword intent around Aoya's body was released. The sword in her hand struck out. "I forbid you from touching him." Shua, he took a step forward. The two sword intents clashed together, and a series of explosive sounds rang out in the air. It was as if countless long swords were clashing, and the sounds of metal slicing were emitted. Aoya acted on behalf of Long Fei, causing Ouyang Jian to become even more furious. His patience with Aoya had finally run out, and he said solemnly, "Junior sister, you asked for it. Roar." A dragon's roar came from Ouyang Jian's body. The sword intent on his body suddenly changed. The long sword in his hand roared like a fierce dragon, instantly locking Aoya in place. Rumble! The sword stabbed out. Aoya's ethereal footwork was completely seen through, and with a single attack, he forced her to retreat. Bang, bang, bang. Aoya was forced to continuously retreat. Every step she took left a deep footprint. Her vital energy and blood were roiling underneath her chest, and she was unable to withstand the pressure. A mouthful of blood sprayed out. "Teacher Oya! Teacher Oya!" Many disciples rushed forward. When Aoya was forced back continuously, Long Fei's body landed lightly. He placed a palm on her back, pushed down with all his might, and stabilized her body. Ouyang Jian sneered, stared at Long Fei, and said fiercely, "Long Fei, it's your turn." Chapter 887 Lie Down. Chapter 887 Lie Down. If he failed to act tough, he would be exposed. Ouyang Jian became angry from the embarrassment and humiliated Long Fei instead. The key point was, Aoya was still protecting Long Fei, causing the hatred in his heart to burn crazily. He had also lost patience with Aoya. How could he endure this? The sword in Ouyang Jian's hand pointed at Long Fei's face and said, "Trash, with just you alone, what qualifications do you have to fight with me over a woman? What right do you have to fight with me? In my eyes, you are just an ant. As long as I use a little strength, I can crush you to death." Ouyang Jian said in disdain. The son of the Green Dragon, Matrial Hall's principal, had extraordinary talent. He was the strongest sword arts powerhouse of the young generation in the God Emperor Academy and was covered in countless halos of light. It could be said that Ouyang Jian was an extremely rich second generation. One had to have status, identity, money, looks, and so on. Nothing could be compared with ordinary people. However, Long Fei was not an ordinary person. Long Fei gave the revenge in his hands to Aoya and walked forward. Aoya pulled his hand, gently shook her head, and said, "Long Fei, don't go. You're not his opponent." The strike just now made her realize that Ouyang Jian was much more powerful than she had imagined. Ouyang Jian hid his true strength. This kind of person was extremely dangerous. Long Fei lightly patted her hands and said, "He's strong, but I, your man, am stronger." Seeing the duo, the hatred in Ouyang Jian's heart grew even more intense. He said with a cold smile, "Your current cultivation is at the 8th stage of the virtual immortals, so I'll suppress my cultivation to the 8th stage of the virtual immortals. I'll let you know what's the difference in cultivation levels is." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "You don't need to suppress your cultivation. If you want to step on it, then I'll step on your peak strength." Humph. Long Fei, it's enough to deal with the trash of the 8th stage virtual immortals. Ouyang Jian had suppressed his cultivation to the 8th stage of the virtual immortals, and the aura on his body also disappeared. To him, the 8th stage of the virtual immortals was more than enough to crush Long Fei. Long Fei laughed. "Up to you." As soon as he finished, Long Fei turned to look at Aoya and said slightly, "Look carefully." Boom! His demon sword had already been broken, and he had not taken out his mutated Emperor armament suit. This suit was used when he was participating in the Academy competition. Not yet. The dragon salyer in his hands used a blade in place of a sword as he fell. Aoya's forehead was locked tight. her eyes staring straight at Long Fei without blinking. Long Fei moved, his body started to sway frantically. His figure became like a mirage. The substance could not be seen clearly. Long Fei shouted, "Insight into sword method." Buzz! At this moment, the sword intent of the infinite sword on his body burned crazily. Break! The dragon salyer moved. Long Fei's body suddenly shot out. Ouyang Jian's cultivation was not just for show. Seeing Long Fei quickly rush in, he laughed coldly. Insight into sword method? Umph. Do you really think it's some sort of high-level sword technique? It's actually just a trash sword technique. Blue Dragon sword art. Azure Dragon flipping heaven. His long sword struck out. Black Dragon, cripple him for me. Black Dragon ancestor grinned. That's exactly what I wanted to say. The moment the weapon touched, without waiting for Ouyang Jian to put away his sword, the illusion of the Black Dragon ancestor inside the dragon salyer suddenly roared and rushed out. Roar! The strong dragon ancestral shadow scared Ouyang Jian to the point that his face turned white, and he thrusted out his second sword attack. Look carefully. Long Fei warned again. The power on the third sword strike suddenly burst forth. The sword strike descended, and the sword chi directly slashed through Ouyang Jian's shoulder. Explode. Bang, bang, bang. 3 sword strikes overlaid each other, unleashing explosive power. The power of the third sword strike forced Ouyang Jian to retreat. The sword in his hand dropped, and fresh blood surged out of his chest. Bam! Unable to hold on any longer, he fell to the ground, in an extremely sorry state. The entire College of War Martial Arts was shocked. All of them looked at Long Fei with their jaws dropped, their eyes filled with worship. Aoya's eyes were also filled with worship. Last time, when he was defeated, perhaps it was because he was not careful. Then this time Ouyang Jian was definitely not careless. His cultivation was at the 8th stage of the virtual immortals, and in front of Long Fei, he did not have any chance to retaliate. Too strong. Abnormal strength. Long Fei turned around and smiled at Aoya. Your man is handsome, right? Oya could not help but reply, handsome. A sentence from the heart. The surrounding disciples of the College of War Martial Arts exclaimed. They had already forgotten that Long Fei had crushed them, and had forgotten that Long Fei had come here to avenge them. This was the world. Powerhouse was respected. As long as you are strong enough, others will treat you like a god. Long Fei defeated Ouyang Jian in 3 strikes. And it was a completely overwhelming defeat to the point of being ridiculously strong. No way. No way. I'm going to fall in love with him too. The eyes of a young lady whose face was filled with infatuation shone. Her face flushed red, as though she wanted to rush forward to hug Long Fei. Is this a service disciple? He's simply a genius, a demon-level genius. The insight into sword method that the teacher Oya had cultivated for so many years was still incomplete. He had directly destroyed Ouyang Jian with 3 sword strikes. At first, I thought he was very arrogant, but now, I finally realized that he wasn't arrogant, but was actually strong. Only the powerhouse can be crazy about him. These disciples all began to worship Long Fei. Even the disciples who were optimistic about Ouyang Jian had started to admire him. At this moment, Ouyang Jian's aura suddenly rose. Immediately returning to the level of a high-grade blood immortal, he extended his 5 fingers and sucked the long sword that fell to the ground. And then, Ouyang Jian's aura suddenly changed. Long Fei, go and die. High-grade blood, immortal cultivation base. If it was just Long Fei's current strength alone, he would simply be no match for him. The difference in realms was simply too great. Moreover, Long Fei never thought that Ouyang Jian would actually be able to climb up so quickly, and his speed was even more astonishing. The moment he sensed Ouyang Jian's chi, Long Fei's eyes turned sinister, his heart becoming overwhelmed with shock. Long Fei, be careful, Oya shouted. Ouyang Jian's speed was too fast. He unleashed all of his strength, wanting to kill Long Fei with a single slash. Too fast. The distance was less than 10 meters, 1% of a second. It was so fast that no one could react. However, Long Fei was not afraid in the slightest. The killing intent in his heart stirred. Then let's see who kills who. The power in his heart exploded. At this time, Long Fei threw caution to the wind. He suddenly turned his body and pushed out his palm. Big Day Tashveda, Buddha palm technique. Lie down. Wong. A Buddhist bell sound rang out. A gigantic golden palm imprint was released, directly striking Ouyang Jian, who was rushing over with a sword. Chapter 888, Green Dragon Hegumen S Attack. Chapter 888, Green Dragon Hegumen S Attack. Too fierce, too fast. Long Fei simply didn't have time to react. If he didn't release the Big Day Tashigata, he would die under Ouyang Jian's sword. A huge palm came crashing down. The entire God Emperor Academy was violently shaken. What's that? The power of Buddhism? Could it be that our God Emperor Academy still has people who cultivate Buddha? That palm imprint is too huge. What power is that? Who is the direction of the College of War Martial Arts? A sensation. The Buddha palm technique was too tyrannical. The golden palm print was over 100 meters tall, shining with a golden light. The powerful aura of the Holy Buddha spreading out to cover the entire sky. It was probably an extremely powerful existence. However, this was still not the strongest, profound mystery of the Big Day Tashigata. Buddha palm technique was only the first form, and currently, it was the only form that Long Fei could use. Boom, boom! Palace Question of God. Dozens of elders stood in the air, looking at the God Emperor Academy's huge Buddhist palm print below them. They were also at a loss, unable to understand what was happening. Have you ever seen such a palm technique? No. The Buddhist cultivators of the gods' martial continent are already extinct. It's impossible for them to have this kind of Buddhist palm art. Could it be a type of Buddhist blood vein? I think it's possible. It was also at this time, a messenger from the spirit star realm descended and said softly, "The Supreme God has ordered that the elders of the Palace Question of God are not to intervene in this matter." The faces of the elders turned cold. Supreme God intervening? Did he already know? Indeed, he already knew that Long Fei had used this move in the Undying Ghost City. At that time, he was just like these elders, incomparably shocked. In the end, the only thing he could think of was the Dragon Domain's secret treasure. Long Fei was the son of the prophet, a person from the Open Dragon Domain. He definitely had some special abilities. This Buddhist palm technique was one of them. This made him even more determined to obtain the Dragon Domain's secret treasure, and made him even more convinced that the Dragon Domain's secret treasure contained a sacred art that led to eternal life. There had to be. Thus, before the Open Dragon Domain appeared, he would never blame Long Fei for anything he did. It was the same this time. Although Supreme God was a little unhappy, he managed to hold it in. College of War Martial Arts. When Long Fei's Buddha palm technique was smashed out, the sword in his hand became bent. His hair was disheveled, and his clothes were rustling. The flesh on his face was moving, and he couldn't take even half a step forward. Boom! As he retreated, Ouyang Jian's entire body began to retreat explosively. He could not resist at all and started to scream miserably, rumble. The palm imprint was pushed aside, and with a loud bang, he was sent flying. A huge building was blasted into the shape of a huge palm. Ouyang Jian's clothes were tattered, and he was lying on the ground, his stomach to the point that his face was flushed red, as if he had been crushed by a heavy tank. His whole body was shaking nonstop. No, 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 no. He had fallen into a terrifying state. Long Fei took a step forward, stared at the trembling Ouyang Jian, and asked, "Who's the trash? Who can crush who?" Both of Ouyang Jian's eyes looked as though Long Fei was covering his face with his hands. He was extremely afraid and didn't even dare to say a word. Too terrifying. The entire College of War Martial Arts was crushed by Long Fei alone. Moreover, following the disappearance of the huge palm, countless of students, teachers, and elders rushed towards College of War Martial Arts. Those who rushed into the courtyard saw a huge handprint on a huge building. The shock caused by that was unable to be put into words. My heart can't take it. A few screams of terror came from inside the building. A disciple who wasn't even dressed immediately scampered over. I just want to take a dump. There's no need to hit me like this, right? This is too scary. The College of War Martial Arts was surrounded by more and more people. Isn't that Ouyang Jian? Isn't he the teacher of Green Dragon Matrial Hall? How did you become so miserable? Holy sh**t. Who beat him up like that? Too awesome. Ouyang Jian is a sword arts genius. How could he be in such a sorry state? The people around them began to whisper. It was also at this time. Boom! Bang! With a loud sound in the sky, his figure was like a dragon as he landed heavily. Looking at Ouyang Jian, who was on the ground, the elder's anger was immediately released. Ouyang Jian was trying to grab on a life-saving straw. Father, 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 kill him, kill him. Azure Dragon School's principal, Ouyang Jian. The 7th stage of the Golden Immortal Realm was currently the #1 powerhouse. Seeing that his son had been beaten to such a state, flames spouted from his eyes as he stared at Long Fei. He suddenly attacked and used one hand to grab on his Xiang Long Fei's throat. Brat, you must be tired of living. Long Fei's gaze darkened. Come. If he wasn't afraid, he was crazy. So what if you're a green dragon, Igumen? Long Fei's angry shout caused everyone around to be greatly shocked. You dare to challenge the Green Dragon Igumen? I'm tired of living. Green Dragon Igumen is God Emperor Academy's #1 powerhouse. Is this kid crazy? Relying on his own strength. Forget about the Golden Immortal. Even the Blood Immortal experts, Long Fei, were not his match, but he had striking system S and unlimited possibilities. The Golden Immortal powerhouse was very strong. Was he as strong as the Turn Yin Long into God? Is he as strong as Ancestor Yin Long? Long Fei linked with his Xianbao spirit stones and roared angrily. Come on, come if you dare. Ouyang Jian looked at Long Fei's wild and arrogant expression and became even more furious. A mere disciple dares to be so rude to me? Die. His killing intent stirred. The killing thought in Long Fei's mind sensed Ouyang Jian's killing intent. Its gaze tensed up. Fuck, you forced my hand, would still endure if he did not move to kill. If you want to kill them, then Long Fei has no need to endure anymore. Xianbao spirit stones explode for me. Long Fei roared in his heart. It was just that. In this instant, without waiting for Long Fei to activate the Xianbao spirit stones, 2 thick streams of energy rolled down from the sky at the same time. Stop! Boom! Boom! Qiu Wandao's strength fell first, and the powerful aura on his body immediately formed pressure, not giving Ouyang Jian the slightest opportunity to react before fiercely crushing down. Bam! Ouyang Jian's body instantly sank. His steps felt as though they weighed 1,000,000 kilograms, as he stood there without moving an inch. What cultivation did Qiu Wandao have? The peak of the 9th level of the Golden Immortal Realm was only a little bit away from breaking through the Fitted Realm, and it could instantly crush Ouyang Jian, who was at the 7th level of the Golden Immortal Realm. Qiu Wandao's gaze darkened as he stared coldly at Ouyang Jian and said coldly, Ouyang Jian, you want to touch Long Fei? His voice was like thunder, and the strong aura exploded within Ouyang Jian's sea of consciousness. Many elders from the College of War Martial Arts looked at Qiu Wandao. There were rumors saying that he had recovered his cultivation, and they did not believe him. They knew very well the way Pan family did things, and knew that Qiu Wandao would not get the chance to do so. But Qiu Wandao's cultivation not only recovered, but it was even stronger than before. Qiu Wandao stared coldly at Ouyang Jian and said, If you have the guts, then try moving one now. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.